Chapter 1. I'm so tired. Oh my god, I worked overtime for 3 days and 3 nights in a row. Sheng jumped into his kennel and closed his eyes. The current owner of Dog Capital is not allowed to house. Cursing and cursing, Sheng fell asleep. He dreamed that he had become an egg. Surrounded by the vast sea, the tide is surging. In the sky, there is Minjai's divine splendor, sprinkled for thousands of miles. And he, in the huge white eggshell. Congratulations to the host for completing the time travel, let the host choose a talent. Okay. Sheng woke up suddenly, and he subconsciously raised his head. Boom. His head hit the ceiling. No, not right. It's not a ceiling, it's an eggshell. This egg is real, and so is itself. Where, through time, I turned into a snake? No, I turned into a dragon. Oh, that's okay. Many memories come together. This is Xialong's inheritance memory. Dragon. The end of the Great Primordial Longhan catastrophe. One of the real dragon princes. Well, it's the Great Primordial world. It seems that the origin and feat are still very good. Sheng's first thought, although it's not that I'm not a human being, but as a dragon, it's okay to eat and die, right? To be honest, he doesn't have much yearning for time travel to become a human being. Don't ask, it's because social animals don't want to be human, it's too tiring. If it's a real dragon, even if it's the Great Primordial world, as a dragon, I should be able to survive the catastrophe by finding a corner to sleep directly, right? To be honest, it might be better if I can become a turtle for 10,000 years. After all, I slept soundly. The mechanical voice sounded again, please host to make a choice. 1. Incarnation of the fighting dragon, unparalleled in body, roaring in the chaotic sky, invincible in fighting. 2. Incarnation of Dao method Tianlong, I am the law is the spirit of the sky, and there is no blame for all laws. 3. Incarnation of Chi Luck golden dragon, grand Dao favors, fortune is hot and sunny, very lucky. Ao Sheng's body moved, and then said directly, it's still a question, of course choose the third one. Fighting the holy dragon? Calling back and forth every day is too tiring. Dao method Tianlong? It almost means that whether it is the method of the 5 elements or the method of thunder, it will consume countless energy. I am too tired and don't want to move. Congratulations to the host, thousands of chi lux are added, and the transformation begins, but after a long time, he felt that his body had undergone earth-shaking changes. The originally immature body has been enveloped by a white jade-like divine light. The divine light surrounded his body and gradually sank into his body. The dragon scales are gradually formed, the dragon claws are initially formed, dragon teeth, dragon bones, dragon blood. As soon as Ao Sheng thought about it, he saw himself in this life. This is me in this life. Really, handsome. Ao Sheng is very satisfied with his appearance. According to the inheritance memory of the dragon clan, at this time, he was finally conceived and formed. A true dragon can take hundreds of years to take shape. After taking shape, it's time to be born. This is what the inheritance memory told Ao Sheng. To be born, you must break the eggshell, and then the dragon will break the sky. Forget it, I feel like I just fell asleep, so let's continue to sleep. A lazy dragon who has no ideals, just wants to sleep. Sleeping inside the eggshell is very comfortable. Thousands of miles away from the blue waves, there are 3 figures flying in the sea. Those are 3 extremely beautiful shadows, as secluded as blue lotus, graceful, dancing with light gauze without any trace of waves. Sister, where did that yin-yang divine light go? Why did it disappear in a blink of an eye? Among the 3, a petite but extremely agile woman exhaled a breath of fragrance and said helplessly. Big Xiao, don't worry. The tall and gentle woman comforted her younger sister softly. The yin-yang divine light is the innate divine light of heaven and earth. It is no small matter. If it can be obtained so easily, it cannot be called innate. Big Xiao pursed her lips, rolled her pretty eyelids, and said, yes, Sister Yung Xiao, you are right. At this time, the woman in the blue water show long doctor suddenly exclaimed, look, that divine light is there. About 10,000 miles ahead, 2 rays of divine light suddenly rushed out from the bottom of the sea. The divine light soared into the sky, shining far and wide. The originally dark night was suddenly illuminated by divine light. Yung Xiao's originally soothing face immediately became serious, and at the same time he exclaimed suddenly, "You two sisters, hurry up. This time, I will definitely get that divine light as a gift of apprenticeship." Among the huge great primordial, although the current ladies of the three firmaments have good mana, compared with many great powers, they are mediocre. More importantly, today's great primordial world is full of disputes. The witches and demons are getting stronger and stronger, and the battle is fierce. If there is no backing, I am afraid that it will be difficult to be alone. Ladies of the three firmaments finally found out that there is three pure ones on great primordial Mt Kunlun. Although they have not become saints, they are Hung Jundao ancestors' direct disciple, so they want to learn from them. Naturally, one cannot leave empty-handed to become a teacher, so the three sisters came here for the innate yin-yang divine light. The sisters of the ladies of the three firmaments had a tacit understanding, and at the same time stimulated their mana, and flew directly towards the yin-yang divine light. Suddenly, two dragon chants roared out, and two jets of water surged out of the already undulating sea. The water column receded, revealing two big bluish-black dragons with four horns and no horns on top of their heads. The two big flood dragons each opened their mouths, biting on the innate yin and yang divine light. Seeing this scene, the petite Big Xiao became anxious. "Sister, those two evil dragons want to snatch the innate yin and yang divine light." There was no need for Big Xiao to shout, Yung Xiao had already shouted immediately, "Humph, two evil beasts dare to act fiercely." Between her palms, a white mist condensed and turned into a white jade celestial light, like a snake. Go! Boom! There was only a loud explosion, and suddenly there was a wave in the sea, stacking thousands of miles away. The two evil beasts let out a mournful cry, and both spurted blood. And the yin and yang divine light also scattered out again. Humph! Big Xiao snorted triumphantly, but the next moment. "But I heard Kyang Xiao say, 'Sister, look.'" Directed by the huge waves stacked thousands of miles away, a white jade egg the size of a child is being pushed up. The scattered innate yin and yang divine light was actually impartial, and it happened to go towards the eggshell. Hey? What happened? How could it be so wobbly? Sheng, who had just fallen asleep, was so shaken that he couldn't stand it, and finally opened his eyes. He just opened his eyes, but saw a red and blue light directly hitting his eggshell. Shen Guang ignored the barrier of the eggshell, and before he could react, it poured directly into his body. Sheng? Higher, the light is both cold and hot, so comfortable. New Year's Day and beyond will be even better. Read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 2. Sheng hesitated for 3 seconds before thinking of a question. What is this light? Belch. After a full burp, a beam of ice and fire spit out from his dragon's mouth, forming a smoke ring. This smell, actually has a little fragrance. Really? Mouth fragrance? Why do I suddenly feel full, and satisfied? This feeling is more comfortable than the feeling when I was full and wanted to sleep. Then, go on to sleep. The previous flood dragon soared out of the sea again, broke through the huge waves, and directly bit the dragon egg. Right now, the eyes of these two blue and black flood dragons are bloodshot, terrifying and extraordinary. They are longing for the innate yin and yang divine light, and even more longing for dragon eggs. Jiao is also one of the dragon bloodlines. However, compared with the real Tianlong, the blood can only use the word humble. Sheng is a pure ancestral dragon descendant, and bloodline is a supreme existence for many dragon races. It is also extremely tempting. The two evil flood dragons never expected that there would be a dragon egg without a guardian on the surface of the sea. Moreover, the dragon egg also absorbed the innate yin and yang divine light. As long as they eat this dragon egg, their blood will immediately burn and transform, turning into an ancient sky dragon with boundless power. This is the calling of instinct. Yung Xiao moves again. Her sleeves curled up into golden clouds, and the divine light rippled for a full 3,000 feet. Naughty animal, dare to be presumptuous. On the other hand, Kyang Xiao and Big Xiao have a tacit understanding with their sister. Kyang Xiao's body turned into a phantom, directly blocking in front of the two evil dragons, while Big Xiao landed in front of the dragon's egg that was riding on the tide, and was protected by a ray of fairy light. Call out! Almost in an instant, Yung Xiao's magical sword cut through the huge waves and killed two flood dragons. The body of the evil dragon fell into the deep sea, and the tide suddenly rolled. The three sisters looked at the dragon egg in front of them. Bixiao asked in a daze, "Sister, what should I do now?" The innate yin and yang divine light actually submerged in this dragon egg. As for Shen Guang, they are going to dedicate it to Mt Kunlun 3 pure ones, hoping to be accepted as a disciple's apprentice ceremony. In fact, the most direct way now is naturally to break the dragon egg, and then take out the yin and yang divine light. But Yongxiao sighed and said, looking at the reactions of the two evil dragons earlier, "I'm afraid the dragon blood in this egg is not low. The dragon clan is not as good as it used to be, but it is still a big force that cannot be ignored by the great primordial. Longhan catastrophe, ancestral dragon fell. However, the azure dragon of the dragon clan incarnates as the quartet holy beast, suppresses the extremes of the eastern sky, and establishes immeasurable karmic merit, which is enough for the dragon clan to multiply and survive. Among the dragon clan, there are also many masters, but they all went to the eastern azure dragon realm. If the dragon clan knows that such a bloodline has fallen into the hands of our sisters, it may be a big cause and effect that cannot be resolved." Of course, there was another reason: the three sisters really couldn't do it directly with an unborn dragon egg. Xiao pondered, then, what about the apprentice ceremony? The three sisters are silent again. Crack, click. A sudden voice broke the silence. "Bixiao, your egg is broken." I saw a long crack suddenly appeared on the white jade-like eggshell. When the ladies of the three firmaments were still in a daze, the cracks spread rapidly. "Caw caw caw." Bixiao was stunned, the egg really broke. From the cracks, ice blue and red light gushes out, forming a magnificent spectacle. Amidst the brilliance, tiny streams of dragon energy gushed out one after another. Eggshells, not crushed. Instead, it turned into bits and pieces of light dust, merging with the ice blue and red light. Bixiao looked down between his hands. A little dragon covered with soft white jade scales, with slightly protruding horns and a slightly curled body suddenly appeared in front of them. Looking at the little dragon, Bixiao's originally shocked eyes were suddenly replaced by a different kind of emotion. She tremblingly said, "Okay, what a cute little dragon. Rao has practiced ladies of the three firmaments for thousands of years, but he still can't resist his overflowing girlish heart. Are all newborn dragons so cute? This little claw, this little dragon horn, this little tail. What's more, at this time, the body surface of this little dragon is covered with crystal light, which adds a lot of mystery to this cuteness. It's not right. Xiao Shen Ning Earthly Dao, the vitality of this little dragon feels wrong. I heard that when a normal real dragon is born, it will surely set off thousands of miles of waves. This is something that many beings know. Because the newborn dragon clan was conceived in the dragon eggs for hundreds of years, even thousands of years. In the dragon egg, there continues to be an incomparably huge amount of energy. On the day when the shell broke out, it was also the time when such majestic energy was released. For this reason, a shocking wave and tsunami will be triggered. But, the dragon in front of me. This dragon was lifeless and almost motionless. Although it has the brilliance of the innate yin and yang gods, it has no vitality itself. Bixiao exclaimed, "Ah, sister, could this little guy?" She wanted to ask, "Is this little dragon already dead?" Yongxiao interrupted her and said, "He's not dead yet, his vitality is still very peaceful." "Now what? Shall we send him back to Dragon Palace?" Yongxiao shook his head and said, "I'm afraid it won't work. Today's Dragon Palace, although not as good as it is now, is still domineering. With Dragon Palace's arrogance, it is impossible to say that they will be regarded as villains who stole the dragon's son, and they will be killed directly without giving them a chance to speak. After all, after the ancestral dragon fell and the azure dragon holy beast suppressed the east heaven, there were indeed many lunatics who attacked the dragon race. Then, what should we do now? We can only take him and go to Mt Kunlun together." Yongxiao said, "If the little dragon wakes up on the road, let him return to the Dragon Palace by himself. If Xiaolong can't wake up, he can't let himself be found by the Dragon Clan. Or maybe, the great power on Mt Kunlun can cure this little dragon. In short, it is absolutely impossible to go to Dragon Palace now. Maybe, at that time, he will be able to hand over the innate yin and yang divine light." Xiao and Bixiao have no objection to Sister Yongxiao's decision. Even Bixiao was full of joy because he was able to take such a cute little dragon on the road. Bixiao, gently touching Ao Sheng's little dragon's head, smiled, "Little longer, Don't worry, you will be fine. Ao Sheng felt a trace of tenderness touching him, so he arched his head slightly. Bixiao was immediately captured. Ao Sheng, who fell asleep here because of the violent shaking, had no idea that he had become someone else's little tit. Yongxiao urged, get out of here quickly, or you won't be happy when the dragon clan sees this scene. Okay. The three sisters immediately started on the road. However, not long after the three sisters left, the two flood dragons that had been beheaded before suddenly roared. New Year's Day and beyond will be even better, read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 3. What happened? Bixiao was taken aback. Behind them, the two broken dragons soared into the sky again, and then directly intertwined together. It's just that at this moment, the surrounding evil spirit actually increased by more than 10 times. Yongxiao's beautiful face was also full of horror. No, those two flood dragons are not real dragons, but the aura of a treasure. This can also be regarded as a precious Dharma body. Now that the Dharma body has been cut off, it has finally angered the true spirit of the treasure. Great primordial world, majestic and unpredictable. Every plant and every tree can be turned into a spirit and a monster. And some innate spirit treasures have the number of good fortunes in the world, so it is only normal that they can be transformed into living beings. It's just an ordinary treasure, and in Yongxiao's golden immortal realm, it can be seen at a glance. But this time, she was blind. This can only show that this treasure is no small matter. I'm afraid it's innate spirit treasure. Innate spirit treasure. Among the great primordial, these 4 words can naturally attract many great powers. However, those who are innate treasures and virtuous live there. What is virtue? Strength. If you want to have the innate spirit treasure, you must have the strength to subdue the innate spirit treasure. Among the great primordial, there are countless people who died trying to get their hands on the innate spirit treasure despite their lack of strength. Therefore, Yongxiao's first thought was, escape. The ladies of the 3 firmaments flew rapidly towards the East Sea. However, no matter how fast the ladies of the 3 firmaments are, they are still locked by an extremely domineering and fierce will. A burst of evil spirit unexpectedly trapped the ladies of the 3 firmaments in a world in the palm of their hands. Innate spirit treasure reveals murderous intentions, turning the world upside down. Oops! Yongxiao paused first, and hurriedly said, you 2 sisters, you leave first, I will hold this innate spirit treasure. She circulated her mana, and immediately exerted her strength, trying to resist. Qianxiao and Bixiao said together, sister, we 3 sisters share the same difficulties, how can we abandon you? However, just as the 3 sisters were speaking, a red and blue cross halo suddenly burst out from the corpses of the 2 flood dragons, slaying them directly. Even though the 3 sisters have good cultivation, Yongxiao is even more of a golden immortal. But before this blow, it also seemed so fragile. Die! Unexpectedly, it came directly. The magic power of the ladies of the 3 firmaments was shattered, and the 3 sisters showed depression and despair at the same time. Bixiao hugged the little dragon tightly, and said, I'm sorry, I couldn't cure you, but I will take you to die with me instead. Yawn. Bixiao saw this little dragon's mouth slightly opened, as if dreaming of something delicious. There was a sad yet beautiful smile on the corner of her mouth. She stroked Ao Sheng lightly with all her strength, and said, hee hee, to be able to die in a peaceful sleep, perhaps, is also a kind of luck. Suddenly. In an instant, the world was darkened. Whether it is Minjiu or the brilliance of the stars, they are directly covered by a mysterious force. At the same time, a pitch-black thunder flickered on the top of the sky. Boom! Boom boom boom! Amidst the explosion sound, a ray of thunder fell, impartially, just landed on the spirit treasure of the dragon's corpse. Ah! The body of the dragon that spirit treasure turned into let out a deep mourning, and the next moment, the dragon dissipated and turned into a pair of huge scissors. As for the terrifying divine light released just now, it has also disappeared. Sister, we are saved, right? Bixiao still has lingering fears at this moment. The yin and yang of the previous cross was really terrible, and the 3 sisters were completely powerless to resist. The true power of the innate spirit treasure is really terrifying. But at this moment, the divine thunder fell directly on the Jiao corpse. Look, sister, is that scissors? The dragon corpse, which was so angry that it could destroy everything, turned into a pair of red and blue scissors? Yongxiao said, that's the body of the innate spirit treasure. While she was still talking, the scissors slowly fell down like fallen leaves. In the end, it actually fell into Bixiao's arms. This. Bixiao's big eyes couldn't help blinking. He was clearly on the verge of death last moment, but now he actually got an innate spirit treasure? Yongxiao said, Bixiao, this is your chance, please accept this quickly. Yongxiao also smiled. But Bixiao still couldn't believe it, and said in a daze, Sister, I'm so lucky, isn't it? As she spoke, she was about to refine this spirit treasure. But okay. Bixiao, what's the matter? The two sisters couldn't help asking when they saw Bixiao's complexion change again. Bixiao looked weird, and said, Sister, this spirit treasure has been refined. Be refined? Who? The next moment, the three sisters simultaneously set their sights on the little dragon in Bixiao's arms. The little dragon moved slightly, and unconsciously coiled the pair of scissors. Yongxiao said incredulously, this innate spirit treasure was actually refined by that little thing. She had to admit that she was envious. The power of the innate spirit treasure has just been felt by the three sisters. At least, it was completely irresistible to them at this time. And this little dragon was just born, and he didn't even open it to see the world, so he directly refined it. Yongxiao also smiled wryly, maybe, it's because the little dragon has that innate yin and yang divine light. At this moment, the little dragon made another move. Sheng's body twisted, and then his tail flicked. The pair of scissors was thrown flying out. And so, innate spirit treasure, was thrown. Sheng, who fell asleep, felt that something was suddenly separating him, so he obeyed his instinct and threw that thing out. Bixiao looked at the innate spirit treasure flying out, feeling disappointed. She said aggrievedly, little thing, you don't want this treasure, but give it to me. As soon as he finished speaking, the pair of scissors slowly flew over again, and landed on the dragon's scales again. Sheng, who was sleepy, was getting impatient. My head flicked again. This time, the strength is really not small. The dignified innate spirit treasure was thrown out by Sheng again. Ladies of the three firmaments. The three beautiful sisters felt panicked at the same time. This little dragon's actions are not insulting, but they are extremely harmful. But when the three sisters were flustered, a gentle and pure voice suddenly came. Hee, there are still people throwing away such innate spirit treasure. P.S. No tipping is required, but a free flower review ticket is requested, thank you. New Year's Day and beyond will be even better, read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 4. The hearts of the three sisters were already in a state of needle not poking. Hearing this sentence now, this is simply a miracle. However, at the next moment, the three sisters flashed your incomparably dignified and deep color at the same time. Who are you? Just in front of the three of them, a middle-aged man with a tall body and generous shoulders appeared. He stepped on the waves and the sea, with him as the center, the spirit of Wanli Sea region fell into silence. It was as if the entire world had been cut off directly. The three sisters realized one thing at the same time, Almighty. Peerless power. Yongxiao looked at the man and said very solemnly and politely, ladies of the three firmaments have seen the seniors. The middle-aged man looked at the three sisters, chuckled and said, it turned out to be Baiun, Chiun, and Kaiun, it is rare. Ladies of the three firmaments is once again heartbroken. The other party saw through his own heels at a glance, which showed that he was powerful. This kind of character is by no means something they can provoke now. Seeing the middle-aged man holding the innate spirit treasure in his hand, she hesitated. The middle-aged man still said in a friendly tone, why, do you want this treasure? Bixiao suddenly said, Senior, Junior dare to ask Senior to return the spirit treasure. It's not that the younger generation is greedy for this treasure, it's that this little guy has already refined it. This little guy is already dying, if the Senior snatches it forcibly, I'm afraid the little guy's life will be damaged. Once the innate spirit treasure is sacrificed, it will be connected with the soul and life of the master. If it is forcibly taken away by an outsider, it will definitely damage the foundation of the owner. If it is a person who has achieved success in practice, that's okay, it only takes 100 years of hard work to replenish the foundation. However, this little dragon has just been born. And when he was just born, he was so half-dead that he couldn't wake up. Even if he woke up, most likely he would die. The middle-aged man chuckled and said, "You are kind, it's rare." His eyes fell on the little dragon. "This little guy is dying." "Yes, senior." For some reason, this little guy was unexpectedly born early from the dragon's egg, which is why this situation happened. The middle-aged man asked again with great interest, "Oh. Then how did he refine the golden flood scissors?" The three Yungxiao sisters looked at each other. "Senior, the matter is so." The middle-aged man pondered for a while after hearing what the three sisters said. "What do you mean? This little guy got the innate yin and yang divine light without moving, and also got the golden flood scissors?" "Yes, senior." Ladies of the three firmaments said very positively. The middle-aged man suddenly laughed. "Ha ha ha. It's interesting. It turns out that poor deists previous the supreme pure one thunder of extermination actually made you a little guy. It's the first time that poor deist has seen such an interesting dragon family. Come on, poor deist, come and have a look." He waved lightly, and Ao Sheng in Big Xiao's arms floated towards the middle-aged man involuntarily. Big Xiao exclaimed, "Senior." Although she has only been in contact with this little dragon for a long time, she really likes this cute white jade dragon. At this moment, she almost reached out to stop it. Fortunately, Yung Xiao on the side directly held her down. "Hehe, haven't you slept enough after sleeping for hundreds of years? Wake up soon." The middle-aged man patted Xialong's forehead lightly. "Wake up." Ladies of the three firmaments were all taken aback. They always felt that it was because of the previous accident that the dragon egg was broken in advance, so that the little dragon was damaged. For this reason, Xiaolong fell into a coma. But hearing what the middle-aged Taoist said, the little dragon just fell asleep. Immediately. Originally lifeless and weak, a vitality visible to the naked eye emerged from the body of the little dragon. The drooping little dragon was also full of crystal-clear luster at this time. "Broomy." Ao Sheng shook his head, then opened his eyes. "Okay." His faucet shook. "What's going on? Am I sleeping in an eggshell?" He raised his head, and three beautiful fairies appeared in front of him. What a nice view! 3 fairies, with different postures, are amazing. But no matter what, they are more beautiful and agile than most of the women in the world before he traveled, no, almost all the women. Then, he subconsciously shook his head. The 360-degree rotation of the faucet is really convenient. He immediately saw a majestic middle-aged man with long hair. "Hey! Who is this man? Feeling a little scary. Are you awake?" The middle-aged man spoke. Are you willing to worship poor deist as your teacher?" Ao Sheng looked at each other, his head finally came to his senses. "You want to accept me as an apprentice? I'm still a dragon clan in this life, so I can't just worship an unknown shameless person as my teacher." "So," Ao Sheng asked, "dare to ask what is the name of the senior?" The middle-aged man chuckled, "You little BD, you still know how to ask for the name of a poor deist? Are you disgusted that the poor deist is not qualified to be your teacher? Poor deist, Tongtian. SHH. Ao Sheng's body jerked violently. He exclaimed in his heart, "Oh my god, I met the boss." Ao Sheng quickly shook his body, and then the dragon claw stood up and shouted, "Ao Sheng, meet Saint." Hearing Ao Sheng's shout, the ladies of the three firmaments were also stunned. "Saint? Tongtian?" The three sisters rushed to Kunlun at this time. Isn't it just to learn from the three pure ones? But now, unexpectedly met here. Tongtian ignored the surprise of ladies of the three firmaments, just looked at Ao Sheng with great interest, and asked, "Aren't you a little dragon who just came into the world? How do you know me? Also, how dare you call me saint?" At this moment, Ao Sheng, whose desire for survival is over the top, immediately said, reporting to Exalted Master, "Your name has been engraved in the inheritance of my dragon clan. As long as any real dragon has a dragon soul, it can know the supreme three pure ones. I can know, the majestic and overbearing leader of Tongtian. As for sanctified, you are Hung Jun Dao ancestor direct disciple, as long as time matures, sanctified will come naturally." After finishing speaking, he directly buried his immature little dragon head. Tongtian laughed suddenly, "Okay, you are Ao Sheng? It seems that you and I are destined soon. Since you call me Exalted Master, you are a poor deist disciple from today on." With a flick of his tail, Ao Sheng shouted again, "Ao Sheng, see the teacher." At this moment, he thought in his heart, I picked up a golden thigh at the beginning, it seems that I was lucky. Although Tongtian did lose in the investiture of the gods battle, it is undeniable that he definitely has big thick legs. Compared with his own dragon background, it is much better. Seeing Xialong's expression like this, Tongtian was very satisfied. The poor Daoist is going back to Mt Kunlun, do you go to the Dragon Palace first or go directly with the teacher? New Year's Day and beyond will be even better, read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 5. Kunlun. Ao Sheng chose to give up his hometown without any hesitation at all. Tongtian patted his dragon's head lightly, and scolded with a smile, you don't think about the Dragon Palace at all? If the Dragon King finds out, he will be sad. Ao Sheng chuckled and said, yawn. Teacher, you don't know, there are quite a few old men, and it doesn't matter if one is missing. Besides, if Xiaolong goes back, he will inevitably cause trouble for you, exalted master. That's not bad. Today's dragon clan is already in the twilight stage. Although after the fall of the ancestral dragon, there is also the holy beast Azure Dragon, which suppresses the eastern heaven, so that karmic merit was obtained for the dragon clan to continue to survive the great primordial. However, there are not many real dragons remaining in the four seas, and their strength is greatly reduced. That battle had already wiped out the dragon clan. If the contemporary Dragon King knew that his son was apprenticed to saint, he would probably raise the flag. Raising the banner is the beginning of cause and effect. Although the middle-aged Tongtian in front of him is very easygoing, Ao Sheng is very clear that he is not sanctified yet. In the stage before becoming saint, Tongtian might not like such karma. Then what really happened at that time, isn't it the dragon clan who are unlucky? In addition, the current dragon clan is actually not peaceful. Why did the real dragon of his majestic dragon clan drift away? It's just because Dragon Palace has just been robbed. After a great turmoil, the Dragon Palace was almost destroyed, and he, Ao Sheng, drifted out of the Dragon Palace. Of course, the most important thing is, lazy. Traveling through Jackie Chan is good. But there are many dragon fathers for no reason, Ao Sheng is really too lazy to face these things. Of course he is not really heartless. The disciple will also squeeze your shoulders and thump your thighs for the teacher. Yan Tongtian scolded with a smile, humph, you are just lazy, right? He saw through Ao Sheng's mind at a glance, this little thing yawned when he spoke. Hey, no way, I just want to be filial to the exalted master. Ao Sheng asked, teacher, are the three senior sisters also brought back to Kunlun? The ladies of the three firmaments who were being left aside by Tongtian became excited at the same time when they heard this. This little dragon is interesting enough. Tongtian laughed and cursed again, and said, you little BD is full of thoughts. He looked at the ladies of the three firmaments and said, the three of you are going to Kunlun, and now there are my elder brother and second brother on Mt Kunlun, who are you going to learn as your teacher? The ladies of the three firmaments all knelt down and shouted directly, please take Saint in. These three sisters are also clear-minded. They are the Tao in the form of clouds, and their foundations are shallow. It is a great opportunity to have a teacher take him in, how can you really pick and choose? After this village, there will be no such shop. Alright, you also have a predestined relationship with the poor Daoist, just like this little dragon, you should be disciples of the outer section. However, this little dragon is the first outer disciple I have taken in. You will call him senior brother from now on. Ladies of the three firmaments shouted excitedly, Yung Xiao, Big Xiao, Kyung Xiao, see exalted master. Meet the senior brother. After finishing speaking, ladies of the three firmaments actually still has some strange things in mind. Before, it was the little milk dragon in my arms, but now it has become my senior brother? Ao Sheng raised his head and raised his tail, this? I am the outer disciple. Master, our relationship has faded away. Tongtian, humph, how can a true disciple of a poor Daoist be so successful? You brat, although you have some opportunities, but if you refuse to practice hard, then you will be an outside sect honestly. As a teacher, Tongtian has also worked hard. He wanted to use this to wake up Ao Sheng, and he had to work hard to practice, otherwise, with this little thing's lazy character, he might just go to sleep right away. But he didn't know, what Ao Sheng was thinking at the moment was, hey, the outer door is good, so the cause and effect will fade away. After the investiture of the gods, I'll just find a cave to drill and sleep to death. Happy. So he immediately said, yes, disciple understands. Tongtian nodded slightly, well, you don't lose your composure because of temporary gains and losses, and you can still maintain this sense of normalcy. You have a good temperament. Hey, thank you teacher for your compliment. Tongtian said, in this way, let's go on the road as a teacher. Earlier, there was an evil animal that escaped from Wei Shi. When Wei Shi killed him, he brought you back to Kunlun to meet your two uncles. Ao Sheng asked, teacher, what is it that is so powerful that it can escape from your hands? At this time, Bixiao also boldly asked, exalted master, but is it related to the previous thunder? To be reasonable, Tongtian, known as the god of killing, treats his disciples really well. Even if the ladies of the three firmaments are disciples who have just taken in by the way, they still answer every question. Exactly, this tusk is one of the remaining beasts from ancient times, and it has been dormant in the East Sea for a long time. This time, the demon race heavenly court came to the East Sea to make the dragon palace submit. For this reason, the two sides fought a battle, and only then did the teacher discover the location of this beast. The ladies of the three firmaments glanced at each other, demon race heavenly court? So, brother, he was left outside because of them. But Ao Sheng said, that stupid thing dare not let the teacher kill it, it is simply hateful. However, the disciple reckons that this kind of ferocious beast might kill himself. At this moment, Tongtian's complexion turned slightly colder, and he said, humph. Do you think all the beasts are like you? You're still foolish. He also said to ladies of the three firmaments, Emperor Jun and Tai, these two guys, want to strengthen heavenly court with all their heart, and they are now arrogant. However, now is the time when the demon race is gaining momentum. If nothing happens, don't provoke it. Ladies of the three firmaments quickly nodded yes. Ao Sheng lazily said, Master, don't be as knowledgeable as these two bastards, sooner or later it will be a thing of the past. As for these demon races who come to East Sea, they are unlucky ones anyway, and they will die sooner or later. Okay. Tongtian's eyes fell on Ao Sheng. Hehe, you little thing has just come into the world, but you have a lot of foresight, tell me. Accidentally slipped my mouth. I am not farsighted, but I know the plot. Ao Sheng, master, this disciple is talking nonsense. Ah, I'm so sleepy, I don't know why, this disciple can't help but want to sleep. Yawn. While talking, this guy has already started to close his eyes, and at the same time, the dragon body began to curl up. Slap. Tongtian slapped him on the head again. Then, he threw Ao Sheng casually and directly to Bixiao. Take good care of your senior brother. Bixiao quickly caught Ao Sheng who was rolled up at this time, and was speechless for a while. Ah! Roar! Suddenly, there was a roar from afar. At the same time, one after another, monster lights rose directly into the sky. BD, you dare to devour my heavenly court soldiers and horses? Court death! Then there was a continuous explosion of chaotic mana. Looking at this scene, Tongtian couldn't help but glance at Ao Sheng who just curled up. Hey? Has it really come true? P.S. Good morning everyone, my brother has the audacity to ask for some support. New Year's Day and beyond will be even better, read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 6. Tongtian looked surprised at this moment, his eyes switched several times between his little apprentice and the distance. Then, he said with a smile, Hehe, it was really hit by this little guy. In the distance, there is a giant beast covered in black and heavily wounded, rampaging among a group of demon race soldiers. This ominous beast is Chaos, one of the four ancient ominous beasts. Its power is boundless, and it is good at dormant. During the catastrophe of fierce beasts, he feigned death and fell asleep until a few days ago. Because of the battle between Dragon Palace and Heavenly Court, his breath was aroused. The three pure ones are Hung Jun's disciples, and they have the mission of cutting out the beasts. But Tongtian liked fighting the most, so he came directly from Kunlun and severely injured him with a single blow. Chaos, I don't know whether to say you were unlucky or lucky when you met this group of heavenly soldiers. Just the moment he saw it, the giant beast had already swallowed at least tens of thousands of demon race heavenly soldiers. However, this demon race heavenly soldier is not really a waste. Since these heavenly soldiers were sent to East Sea to challenge them, they are naturally capable. Among them, the leading generals are Bai Fang and Fei Lian. Bai Fang, one of the top 10 demon gods in heavenly court today, the realm of golden immortal of the Great Way. At this time, his body was surrounded by red flames, and under the cover of tens of thousands of heavenly soldiers, he continued to inflict heavy damage on the black chaotic beast. In addition, there is a demon god Fei Lian. With bird wings on his body and blood radiating from his body, he was fighting the fierce beast head-on. The two sides confronted each other and could not stop fighting for a long time. Tongtian thought, hee, it looks like that damn animal is willing to take risks in order to suppress the injury as soon as possible. This chaotic ferocious beast can escape the catastrophe, and has been sleeping until now, so it is very ferocious. However, under his previous sword strike, he was seriously injured. Under the burning of the sword, it was extremely painful, and he had to seek blood to resist the injury. The group of demon race heavenly soldiers did indeed have bad luck suddenly, and actually walked right in front of him. For this reason, the two sides fight a battle, and the final result will only hurt both sides. So the little thing Ao Sheng really hit the spot. Tian Bing, it's really unlucky. Chaos, I almost killed myself. Tongtian looked at the battlefield, and said again, Bai Fang and Fei Lian must have taken a fancy to this karmic merit. Humph, this is the leak of wanting to pick up the poor deist. The ladies of the three firmaments stood quietly behind Tongtian. Especially Big Xiao, she gently hugged Ao Sheng's little milk brother Miaolong, watching the battle. The ladies of the three firmaments of later generations were all powerful in the investiture of the gods' battle, and the 9 winding yellow river array made the school of enlightenment Jinxian terrified. But now they are just Jinxian, but they are too different when facing those demon gods. If this was normal, they would definitely take a detour the first time they saw the demon god. But now it is not needed. Because the three sisters also have backers. Tongtian smiled and said, forget it, I will give you a little meeting gift as a teacher today. By this time, many heavenly soldiers and generals at heavenly court were almost dead, and only 2 demon gods and a very small part of the elite were holding on. And that chaos beast, already red-eyed, has also become the end of its battle. At this time, the demon god Bai Fang was surrounded by demon flames. The powerful force is constantly boiling. He was furious, naughty animal, evil animal. You dare to slaughter my demon race 30,000 sons, and I will kill you today. Fei Lian controlled the blood cloud with blood light, but he thought in his heart, hey, this is an ancient beast. I don't know why, but I was hit hard. You only need to kill this beast. Not only can you get the Emperor of Heaven reward, but you can also get the heavenly Dao karmic merit. Among the 30,000 heavenly soldiers, death is worth it. Now the Great Primordial is well known that slaying beasts means earning karmic merit. Because the beasts are different from all creatures of the Great Primordial, they were born with the blood of the demon god, and their nature is only killing and destruction. But in the same way, the ferocious beasts that can survive until now are absolutely terrifying. Even the golden immortal of the Great Way demon god may not be able to deal with it. But now, he and Bai Fang actually found one. Isn't this karmic merit from heaven? Bai Fang, that chaotic desire is about to escape, you seal his retreat with demon fire. Bai Fang immediately manifested his original body, and his body swelled suddenly. It is good. A flaming bird that covered the sky and the sun suddenly appeared, and the sky was surrounded by fire. As expected of the golden immortal of the Great Way, it is truly terrifying. Ao Sheng, the little lazy dragon, just nestled in his junior sister's arms and was about to go back to sleep when he was awakened. At this time, Ao Sheng's heart was also filled with shock. This is the great primordial world. Although he has inherited memories, it was the first time he saw such a scene in his original thinking, and he was very dissatisfied and shocked. The big bird erupted with terrifying flames, and then a creature with a human body and bird wings, which he had never seen before, ruthlessly headed towards a giant black beast. A great battle of horrors, expanding with power beyond what Ao Sheng used to realize. The surrounding sea area was immediately evaporated to dryness. Ha ha ha, the karmic merit that slays the beast is mine. With a whistling sound, the bird-winged man condensed a crescent-long knife with bloody light, and slashed down fiercely. Chaos, the ferocious beast, roared with all its strength at this moment, trying to break free. Obviously, he already had a premonition that his own death was coming. However, Bai Fang reappeared in his original body and held him tightly. Can't break free. But at this moment, a cyan sword light descended from the sky at an even faster speed. Whoosh! King Guo flashed across and cut off his body directly. The majestic and terrifying beast has been completely smashed to pieces at this moment, without leaving even the slightest trace. At this moment, the world was silent. Fei Lian was stunned. Bai Fang was shocked. After a long time, Fei Lian roared angrily, Who dares to snatch the karmic merit from this demon god? He is really angry. After a hard battle, accompanied by tens of thousands of elite heavenly soldiers, all his old friends escaped. But at this juncture, he was reaped the result with a sword strike. Above the sky, a golden light of karmic merit suddenly emerged. This karmic merit golden light, pure gold color, falls straight down. Fei Lian and Bai Fang looked at each other, and immediately flew over. They want to see who dares to snatch their karmic merit. Tongtian said at this time, Ao Sheng, since you guessed the result correctly, then this karmic merit will give you the big head. After the karmic merit golden light fell in front of Tongtian, he clapped his hands. Immediately, the golden light of karmic merit directly sank into Ao Sheng's body. The original white jade dragon has directly turned into a local tyrant gold dragon. P.S. Due to working overtime at noon, there are 3 more chapters that should be in the evening, so the author tries to hurry up. New Year's Day and beyond will be even better, read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 7. Drenched in golden light from karmic merit, Ao Sheng slowly rises to the sky. Fly higher and higher. Against the golden light of karmic merit, the local gold is extremely dazzling. The ladies of the 3 firmaments were completely shocked as they watched this scene. As we all know, karmic merit was given by heavenly Dao. However, their exalted master Tongtian can share the karmic merit at will, which shows how powerful their exalted master is. Worthy of being one of the 3 pure ones, the great primordial is destined for the existence of sanctified. At this time, Ao Sheng sighed from the bottom of his heart, it's so comfortable. This feeling is like being soaked in a bathtub and bathed in bubbles when you are exhausted. Then, multiply by 10,000 times. So Ao Sheng thought, karmic merit. It's so cool. I really want to get more karmic merit in the future. If you can lie on a big bed made of karmic merit and fall asleep directly, then, it will definitely be a treat. But when Ao Sheng was contemplating the future big bed plan with enjoyment, 2 giant shadows suddenly appeared. It was Fei Lian and Bai Fang who rushed over. Seeing Bai Fang and Fei Lian at close range, the sense of oppression is unprecedentedly huge, much stronger than before. Fortunately, he is now surrounded by the power of karmic merit, and he does not touch anything, so he doesn't feel much. When he saw Fei Lian and Bai Fang appear aggressively, Ao Sheng suddenly understood. Master wants to fish. Although Ao Sheng is lazy, he is actually very smart. He was obviously able to absorb the power of karmic merit by Tongtian's side, but Tongtian let himself slowly spiral up to the sky, and also let karmic merit emit exhaustion. On purpose. Ao Sheng complained in his heart, how angry. You actually use your apprentice as bait. Humph, smelly shameless. Don't talk about martial arts. After thinking about this, Ao Sheng didn't panic at all when facing the 2 golden immortal of the Great Way. When Bai Fang and Fei Lian arrived, they were surprised when they saw Ao Sheng. Bai Fang exclaimed, it's actually a real dragon. This time he and Fei Lian led the heavenly soldiers. The main purpose is to oppress the contemporary Dragon King, so that he can take refuge in heavenly court. It's just that although the Dragon clan has fallen, they still have the arrogance in their bones. The old Dragon King directly rejected the heavenly court. After a fierce battle, Fei Lian and Bai Fang return without success. Haha, God help me too. Fei Lian burst into laughter immediately, with this little dragon cub, why worry about that old BD refusing to submit? They are very clear that for today's dragon clan, every pure-blooded true dragon is extremely precious. If this little dragon is used as a bargaining chip to threaten the old Dragon King, maybe the plan will succeed. At worst, it could make the old dragon vomit blood. Do it. Feeling agitated, Fei Lian directly ignored the flying sword that killed the chaotic beast earlier. On the contrary, Bai Fang was still somewhat clear-headed, and he keenly sensed that something was wrong. This real dragon seems to be too simple. Fei Lian, wait a minute. However, before he finished his words, Fei Lian had already rolled up a bloody light, and grabbed Ao Sheng directly. "GG, karmic merit is mine, and so is you little dragon." Fei Lian had a ferocious face, with the words arrogant and proud written on it from head to toe. For such a situation, Ao Sheng directly rolled his eyes. Instead, he shook the dragon's tail and murmured to himself, "It seems that the villain's brain will get flooded, it's all true." A figure appeared behind Fei Lian and Bai Fang unconsciously. It wasn't until the man spoke that Fei Lian, who was about to move, and Bai Fang, who was cautious, were suddenly awakened. "How dare you dare to attack the poor Daoist's disciple?" Bai Fang's body trembled violently, the flames dissipated and turned into a Taoist body, his soul was agitated. Fei Lian, who had already made a move, was even worse. A white light flickered quietly, and then the huge claw was separated from his body without a sound. Fei Lian is also a golden immortal of the Great Way, as long as the primordial spirit does not die, the body will not die. But at this moment, he could only watch his arm separate from himself. No blood flowed, because the severed claw had been completely crushed by the sword energy. It wasn't until the severed hand was completely shattered that Fei Lian began to howl miserably. "But noisy! If you dare to continue to make noise, poor Daoist will kill you." Fei Lian immediately suppressed the pain, not daring to make a sound. Although, from primordial spirit to physical body, he was trembling with pain. Bai Fang finally called out the opponent's name, Tongtian. Now the great primordial and three pure ones have never been sanctified, but as long as they are powerful, who would not know their great reputation? The four words Pangu orthodoxy have an absolutely suffocating weight. Bai Fang went to Fei Lian's side and supported him. Because Fei Lian at this time is really miserable. The sword just now was obviously not just as simple as an arm. Tongtian said indifferently, "If you hurt my disciple, the poor Daoist will cut off your arm, a small punishment and a big punishment." Ao Sheng observed his teacher and thought, "It really is with hands behind their backs, and their head looking up at the sky at 45 degrees. This is the most typical style of coercing the king. It seems that since ancient times, forcing kings has always been natural, self-taught without a teacher." I don't want to say what Fei Lian feels in his heart, but at this moment, he is in extreme pain and fear to the extreme. Originally, he still felt that he was the golden immortal of the Great Way, and even more the demon god of heavenly court. Even though he was not as good as the three pure ones, he was still not so different. Together with other demon gods, they even dared to besiege and kill the three pure ones. But now, he understands. The gap is so huge. Bai Fang said, "Senior Tongtian, our brothers are reckless. Fei Lian already knows his mistake, so how dare he complain? What's more, your Gao Tokai hasn't been injured yet. For the sake of His Majesty Tai Yi and Emperor Jun, I hope you will hold your hand high. I haven't touched Fei Lian just now, no, you appeared without even touching a trace of breath, how can it hurt?" In fact, he was still shocked at this moment. Why did Tongtian appear in East Sea? Could it be that the Dragon clan got involved with the three pure ones? At this moment, a childish voice came from Ao Sheng, "Oh, teacher, this guy is teaching you how to do things. Anyway, he is also a job BD, Ao Sheng has a knack for being eccentric." Bai Fang. I didn't dare, don't talk nonsense." Tongtian said, "Leave what satisfies the poor Daoist to compensate my disciple, and then, get out. The implication is, if you can't make me dissatisfied, die." Seeing Tongtian with indifferent face and tall and straight body, and seeing the golden light of local tyrant slowly fade away, and Xiaolong flying leisurely in the air, Bai Fang finally gritted his teeth and took out something. P.S. There are 2 more updates. The author's younger brother will continue to work hard. Ask for free flower review tickets. Thank you also for the rewarding brother, let you spend money. New Year's Day and beyond will be even better, read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 8. Senior Tongtian, is this thing enough? When Bai Fang said these words, he was gritting his teeth and pestering his heart. Tongtian glanced at it calmly, and said, "So it's the sycamore tree of the Phoenix family. Not so good." Before the catastrophe of the ancient Longhan broke out, the Bafang clan was once a subordinate of the Phoenix clan, or in other words, they were the creatures born after the Phoenix fell in love with birds of other races. After the catastrophe of the Dragon and Han dynasty and the fall of the Phoenix, Bai Fang came out independently. Up to now, King Bai Fang of this generation has joined the heavenly court and become one of the demon gods. All these phoenix sycamore trees were originally an innate spirit root. Although this spirit root is not comparable to the top 10 innate spirit roots, it is indeed one of the most precious gods in the world. Of course, what Bai Fang has is definitely not a complete sycamore wood. Because it is said that with the fall of Origin Phoenix, the patriarch of Phoenix, the trunk of that sycamore tree has been buried together. What Bai Fang held was obviously just a twig. For this reason, Tongtian will say not satisfactory. Bai Fang respectfully offered the object, and then left with Fei Lian. Bai Fang and Fei Lian suffered heavy losses during this journey. In the beginning, even though he had a fight with Dragon Palace, he didn't hurt his tendons and bones. On the contrary, he was so oppressed that Dragon Palace stayed in the deep sea and dared not come out. But what happened next was completely beyond their expectations. First, a fierce beast suddenly appeared, swallowing more than 30,000 heavenly soldiers and generals, and then met the evil star Tongtian. Bai Fang's heart was full of anger. But so what? The opponent is 3 pure ones. The previous sword had already made him understand the gap between them. Take it. Tongtian threw the sycamore wood directly to Ao Sheng and said, although this thing is not a whole phoenix tree, it is enough for you to refine a good acquired treasure in the future. Ao Sheng's dragon body wrapped around it directly. A wave of warmth was released from the sycamore wood, and it felt particularly comfortable falling on his dragon scales. He thought to himself, no wonder the phoenix likes to fall on the parasol tree, it's really cool. If one day I find the taproot of this sycamore tree, I will definitely build a nest on it. No, it's a villa. Tongtian also ignored Ao Sheng, and injected the remaining power of karmic merit into the bodies of ladies of the 3 firmaments. Okay, the beast has been killed, we should go back to Kunlun. Ao Sheng rolled up his sycamore wood, and landed in front of the ladies of the 3 firmaments' junior sister happily. He looked at Bixiao pitifully, and said, Junior sister Bixiao, I'm tired. Tired, it's true. Tired, want to sleep. Bixiao looked at him, and suddenly his eyes released a gentle brilliance. Although he is a senior brother, the little milk meow dragon is so cute. She was just about to reach out to hold her senior brother in her arms, but she didn't want Exalted Master's voice to come. Ao Sheng, your foundation is not damaged, and you have the innate yin and yang divine light. You need to work hard to completely refine it as soon as possible and transform it into form as soon as possible. Do you understand it? Ao Sheng, who is about to enjoy. The teacher turned a corner and told me not to let my junior sister hug me. He was heartbroken. Humph, teacher, you are targeting me, shameless. Tongtian didn't pay attention to anything else, just moved his hand lightly. A blue light enveloped the ladies of the 3 firmaments and Ao Sheng, and then they disappeared into the East Sea. After a long time, a figure suddenly appeared in the sea. Although he was wearing an imperial robe, he was majestic and extraordinary, but his face was tired and he looked old. This is the current Dragon King. He looked at the depressing sky, then at the direction of Mt Kunlun, and let out a long breath. At this moment, another young dragon appeared beside him. He asked with a surprised look, Father, why didn't you come out to meet your younger brother just now? Guanger, your younger brother is now a disciple of the future saint. Little Ao Guang didn't know, and asked, that's the case, shouldn't father come out to meet that Tongtian Taoist? Right now, our dragon clan is in a precarious situation. If this Tongtian, the future saint, is willing to support my dragon clan in the face of my younger brother. Shut up! The old Dragon King scolded. After pondering for a long time, he said, this kind of existence is not willing to be easily contaminated with cause and effect. What's more, it's still my dragon clan. Regardless of the fact that the dragon clan is still doing well today, it is still an upper-class force among the great primordial. And because the holy beast Azure Dragon guards the pole of the eastern sky, it is still chic. But Guanger, never, ever, never forget, the ancestor of the Azure Dragon guarding the eastern sky is here, atonement. Starting today, forget that you have a younger brother. He took a deep breath and said after a long time, Ao Sheng of my dragon clan died not long ago, do you understand? Ao Guang was stunned for a long time, and finally burst into tears. He nodded heavily, sobbing and said, well, I see. Remember, I, Ao Guang, lost a younger brother. He clenched his fists and said to himself in his heart, I, Ao Guang, must revitalize the dragon clan. This is a promise made by a young dragon clan to himself. Ao Sheng and ladies of the three firmaments looked around in surprise at the same time. In the last moment, they were still in the East Sea. Surrounding, blue waves thousands of miles. Above the head, the waning moon is chilling. But now it has reached the embrace of endless mountains. Mt Kunlun, the ancestral home of Dao sect, has arrived. The distance between East Sea and Kunlun is unknown. If Yungziao in the Golden Immortal Realm flies with all his strength, it may take several years. However, this equidistant distance is just a flick of a finger for Tongtian. For such a powerful person, the real Tianya is very close. Tongtian looked at the four disciples and said, "This place is within the range of Mt Kunlun. Since the opening of the Great Primordial, this mountain has been extraordinary, and in the vast Mt Kunlun veins, there are infinite treasures. As a teacher, you must first go to the mountain to meet your senior uncle and second senior uncle, and you go up the mountain by yourself." Ao Sheng. Ao Sheng quickly shook the dragon's body, and solemnly shouted, "The disciple is here. You need to go up the mountain by yourself, don't be lazy, let alone let your junior sister carry you up. Understand?" Ao Sheng had no choice but to shake the faucet, and said with a smile, "Master, don't worry, the disciple understands." In a blink of an eye, Tongtian had disappeared in front of their brothers and sisters. Ao Sheng suddenly wailed in pain, it's over, I was targeted by Master." Yungziao walked up to Ao Sheng. She smiled gently, her face as gentle and beautiful as a peach blossom. "Brother, Master probably wants to test our perseverance, let's hurry up and get on the road." Ao Sheng pursed his lips, his eyes were a bit lucky. Yungziao didn't wait for him to speak, and said, "Brother, Master said, you can't be too lazy. Let's go by ourselves." Ao Sheng shook his head, and finally compromised his fate. One dragon and three sisters started up the mountain. After about half an hour, Ao Sheng suddenly exclaimed, "Oops! P.S. The number of words in each chapter exceeds 2,000, adding up to over 10,000 words, no wonder it took so long. The opening East Sea plot has passed, and the Mt Kunlun plot will start next. The Mt Kunlun plot is also the real start of the set main plot. Go to bed early guys. Brother please ask for a free flower evaluation ticket. New Year's Day and beyond will be even better, read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 9. Wu. With the long sound of piercing the sky, Ao Sheng started his free fall. He was still in the air, and he had no choice but to complain, "Mt Kunlun is so stupid. It was a trap that was actually banned from flying." Gudong. After a muffled sound, he finally fell to the ground. However, it doesn't hurt. What luck, there is actually a natural cloud bed under this cave. Ao Sheng's faucet turned 360 degrees, and he saw the cave directly. There is light. Anyway, this is Mt Kunlun, and it is Master's dojo, so he is not worried about what will happen to him. The light is pure white, and it looks warm in this dark cave. Ao Sheng walked cautiously and finally came to the end. This is... It is a burning white flower, a flame flower. Unexpected. Bobo. After a muffled sound, the flame suddenly flashed and directly crashed into Ao Sheng's dragon head. At this moment, Ao Sheng changed color again and became a white fire dragon. "I'll go, hot hot." He wailed twice and opened his mouth suddenly. Woo! A thick white flame shot out from his mouth. Wherever the fire passed, the cave was directly melted. At the same time, he felt that he was not hot anymore. After being frozen for a while, Ao Sheng finally came back to his senses. Nanming Luo. One of the innate divine fires. Innate divine fire is the flame that existed at the beginning of opening heavens. Not to mention the innate energy, it is said that it was acquired by Vermilion Bird, and it shined brilliantly during the catastrophe with the beast. In the long history of the Great Primordial, there are not many flames that can stand alongside it. There are only a few kinds, such as Sun True Fire, Red Lotus of Karmic Fire. Ao Sheng is now in control of this top flame. In the future, even if he just lies down every day, as long as Nanming Luo still exists, his magic power will continue to increase. The big deal is to become a fire dragon completely. What's more, he also has the yin and yang divine light. Pfft, I don't want to be a yin-yang dragon, but a white fire dragon looks more powerful. But why did I get this flame so easily? Although he was lazy, he didn't dare to be careless about matters involving his own life. Since Nanming Luo is one of the most powerful flames between heaven and earth, it is extremely hot. If ordinary creatures approached, they would be burned into white smoke immediately. Even if I am protected by the yin and yang light, I am afraid that I will be in great pain. But this time, I just felt a little hot, and then directly merged with the flame. Understood. After thinking for a while, he took out a wooden fire stick. It's this thing. It is this section of congenital sycamore wood. Since Nanming Luo was acquired by vermilion bird, it naturally has the attributes of vermilion bird. Coincidentally, vermilion bird is also a close relative of the phoenix. Probably, this stupid flame took me for a bird. Although this sounds weird, Ao Sheng is fine. Nanming Luo can almost be regarded as a magic weapon for practicing hang-ups, it's so cool. Senior brother, senior brother. Yung Xiao's gentle but anxious voice came from above. Are you okay? Ladies of the Three Firmaments is really frustrating. Everyone walked in a good manner. Where the senior brother stepped on, the three sisters also stepped on it. Why did you suddenly fall into the pit, senior brother? Ladies of the Three Firmaments also wanted to enter the pit for the first time, but found that after such a pit, their mana would be directly suppressed and they could not fly at all. At this time, Yung Xiao was bound by a thick wooden vine, and then slowly went into the pit to find Ao Sheng. Ao Sheng replied, "Ha, I'm fine, I'm still very comfortable." Yung Xiao finally fell to the ground, and saw his senior brother surrounded by a ball of white light. In the white light, senior brother Ao Sheng was coiled in a very comfortable posture at first glance. The dragon's face was rosy, delicate and shiny. "Brother, you really scared me to death." Yung Xiao called softly, and then quickly approached Ao Sheng. Ao Sheng laughed, and said, "Everything is a matter of course, your senior brother and I, Jilong, have our own aura. At that time, I thought I was blinded by sleep, but now it seems that Chi Luck Golden Dragon is really particular. Comfortable. Brother, it's fine." Looking at Ao Sheng's state at this time, Yung Xiao also guessed that he might have gotten a chance. But she didn't ask too much. "Ha ha ha, junior sister, senior brother, I even picked up a treasure this time. Look." He spewed out a white flame lightly, and then the flame turned into a white flower, which was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. At this time, Ao Sheng is showing off the mentality of some nouveau riche. But this is also because he regards ladies of the Three Firmaments as his own, so he will show his true side. Yung Xiao solemnly warned, "Senior brother, this flame has extraordinary power, and it is an extremely powerful innate spiritual fire. Senior brother, don't hesitate before outsiders." Ao Sheng nodded, "No matter what, I still know this truth. Hidden clumsiness, keep the whole cards, he knows about this matter. Go, let's go up." On the top of Mt Kunlun, there is a Taoist palace. Inside the Dao Palace, the three of them sat together in the shape of the character pin. The person at the top, with 100 white hairs and a vigorous old man, is the Grand Pure One. The person on the left is also middle-aged, but slightly older than Tongtian. He is also energetic, extraordinary and dignified. This is naturally Yuanqi. And the one on the right is naturally Tongtian. At this time, the Grand Pure One said, "Third brother, you are a very lucky disciple. Nanming Luo is hidden deep under Mt Kunlun. Even I and others only know about Nanming Luo but don't know where it is, but you, an apprentice, can harvest this kind of innate divine fire as soon as you come. It's very rare." The Grand Pure One looked calm, but Tongtian felt that the elder brother was a little sour. After all, the eldest brother is keen on alchemy. And the most important thing in alchemy is the flame. It's a pity that my disciple actually got what the elder brother didn't get. Thinking about it, I'm a little proud. Tongtian chuckled calmly and said, "This kid's luck is indeed a little bit better. Well, that is, before he was born, he inexplicably obtained an innate yin and yang divine light. As soon as the shell was broken, an innate spirit treasure was obtained. As for the god's prophecy and the like, it's just a coincidence, yes, it's just a pure coincidence." At this time, Yuanqi said, "Third brother, your disciple is the follower of the dragon clan." Tongtian chuckled and said, "Brother, don't worry, second brother, the poor Daoist has already explained to the Dragon King, and the karma of the dragon clan will not involve this son. Earlier in the East Sea, why did he use Ao Sheng as a bait to cut off Fei Lian's arm? That's exactly what the Dragon King of East Sea has to say. The Dragon King is very knowledgeable and did not come out of the sea to meet Ao Sheng, which is also his explanation to Tongtian. Yuan Shi nodded and said, that's the best. However, do you want to accept this little dragon and those 3 clouds as the true biography? P.S. The part of 3 pure ones will be written more carefully, including the situation of many disciples. This book, on the basis of being interesting, will arrange the great primordial plot as reasonable as possible. New Year's Day and beyond will be even better. Read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 10. As soon as Yuan Shi finished speaking, even the elder brother the Grand Pure One looked over. The matter of accepting apprentices is never a trivial matter. Because disciples are about chi luck. Before Tongtian opened his mouth, Yuan Shi said again, third brother, don't blame me for calling you. Our 3 brothers are not sanctified yet, so we shouldn't accept apprentices, but you are good. You already have 2 true biography. Now bring another one back. Today's MT Kunlun is actually very calm. Both Yuan Shi and the Grand Pure One have made up their minds, if they don't make it to saint, they won't accept disciples. P.S. The follow-up will slowly unfold. Sanctified is the number 1 priority of 3 pure ones. Not only does it need to consume energy, but it is more likely to damage chi luck. Leaving energy consumption aside, the loss of chi luck was what they feared the most. Take Ao Sheng for example. Ao Sheng belonged to the Dragon Clan. If because of the Dragon Clan, Ao Sheng intervened in the matter and was killed, then as the master, would they have to take action? Then fell into cause and effect? Seeing the 2 brothers looking over, Tongtian's expression froze. The reason, he actually understands. However, he really likes the feeling of accepting apprentices. He smiled awkwardly, 2 big brothers, don't worry, now the true inheritance is just Duobao and Wudang. As for the 4 of them, let's be an outsider first. Tongtian's heart, hey, find a chance in the future and upgrade that little thing of Ao Sheng to a true biography. Well, it doesn't matter whether Ao Sheng's little thing sounds good or not, the main reason is that this little thing is very pleasing to his eyes. Hey! The Grand Pure One sighed a long time, and said, okay, as long as the 3rd brother knows it in his own mind. Don't let your own holy Dao be affected by a small loss. Yuan Shi also seized the opportunity to teach, that is, you must not accept some disciples who have unclear backgrounds, or who are crooked. Tongtian have been offended. Yuan Shi's words are not very harmful, but extremely insulting. Is the poor Daoist's disciple crooked? Second senior brother, what do you mean? Yuan Shi's complexion also darkened, and he said, there is no other, it's just a warning. Warning? It's better to say that you are mocking me. Humph. The 2 middle-aged men looked at each other, and soon a fire burst out of their eyes. But at this time, the voice of the Grand Pure One came, junior brother, this little dragon is terrible. Look. Tongtian and Yuan Shi also ignored each other's gaze, and looked directly at the projection of mysterious light technique. In the projection, Ao Sheng really followed Tongtian's teachings and came to the top of MT Kunlun in a down-to-earth manner. But on the top of Ao Sheng's head, a spiritual flower surrounded by purple air was wrapped. On his dragon tail, there is a thick ginseng essence. Yuan Shi exclaimed, isn't the purple water chestnut vine on this little guy's head? Also, the one on the dragon's tail is the king of ginseng that has been bred in Kunlun for 3 million years. Where did this come from? MT Kunlun is indeed full of treasures, there are countless immortal roots. However, there are not many who can be remembered and named by 3 pure ones. Let me talk about the purple water chestnut vine first. Purple water chestnut vine, its vines are glowing purple, and the flowers are fiery red. This purple light is not unusual, but the purple energy is coming from the east. This spirit vine can absorb the purple energy between the heaven and the earth every morning and store it in itself. Of course, this purple air is not purple chi of grand mist. It's the Xiang aura that Taoism said. Among the later generations, the great cultivators of the human race like to live on the top of the mountain, just hoping to have the opportunity to obtain even a trace of Xiang Qi. And this purple water chestnut vine is able to breed red flowers, which shows how strong the purple yang energy is. Getting this purple water chestnut flower can not only directly improve the cultivation level, but also a manifestation of Qi luck. That 3 million-year-old Ginseng King has an extremely extraordinary consciousness. In fact, the Ginseng King had attained the Tao and gave birth to his own spirit. Although his age is only a short 3 million years, but when he was born, he received a trace of innate energy, which is very extraordinary. Yuanqi was very frightened at the moment. He asked, Tongtian, your big apprentice Duobao once tried to get this Ginseng King, but he was beaten to pieces by the Ginseng King. How did this little dragon get it? The Grand Pure One said sullenly, when the two of you were arguing, the Ginseng King and the purple water chestnut flower hung on the little dragon by themselves. The Grand Pure One saw clearly just now, that flower was blown by a gust of wind. The King Ginseng plant was wrapped around the tail of the little dragon when it came out of the pit. The little dragon himself didn't look for it at all. Yuanqi. He suddenly looked at Tongtian and said, Junior brother, your disciple is a bit evil, please help me take care of you. Tongtian's sword eyebrows condensed. Evil door? You old man, you saw my apprentice Qi luck heaven defying, you want to snatch my apprentice. He sneered and said, Humph, Sheng has already worshipped me as his teacher. I think that with the green grass sword in my hand, I can take care of him enough to suppress his evil ways, so I won't bother you, second brother. Yuanqi immediately slapped his thigh and said, Tongtian, brother Wei is out of kindness. You mentioned green grass sword for no reason. Do you want to have a fight with brother Wei? Come, come, poor Daoist Yurui, just now she is showing her light. Tongtian angrily said, Hey, second senior brother, you are not a son of man, so what can you do if you have done enough? The two middle-aged people looked at each other again, wiping out the spark of friendship. Yuanqi, Tongtian, silence the poor Daoist. Brothers, how dare you confront each other with weapons? At this moment, the Grand Pure One had stood up and scolded the two younger brothers with a scowling expression. Tongtian and Yuanqi snorted coldly when they saw the senior brother getting angry. Brother, forgive me. Humph. The Grand Pure One looked at the two of them, and shook their heads helplessly. You keep saying that you want to find the way of sanctification, but instead you rebelled here for the sake of a disciple. If this gets out, I, 3 Pure Ones, will lose face. Tongtian and Yuanqi suppressed their anger and said at the same time, Brother taught me a lesson. The Grand Pure One just nodded, and then said, According to the opinion of poor Daoist, let that little dragon worship under my door. Yuanqi? Tongtian. Another old man. P.S. Ask for a free flower evaluation ticket, the author's younger brother will continue to work. New Year's Day and beyond will be even better, read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 11. I'm so tired, what happened to this broken flower? Sheng shook his faucet for the 7th time, trying to shake off this bright red flower. However, to no avail. Not long after he was hugged by Yung Xiao from the pit, Mt Kunlun had a gust of wind. The wind picked up, but instead of blowing up the skirt of junior sister, it blew a red flower. Well, it's very heavy, the kind that can't be shaken off. Then, a ginseng plant was wrapped around his tail. Thick and strong old wild ginseng. Every ginseng's whiskers were green and purple. With a flick of his tail, he immediately swung the old mountain ginseng to him. You are really not afraid of my dragon's mouth, and I will eat you directly. Ladies of the three firmaments looked at Sheng, who was looking sad at this time, and looked at each other. Both of them felt that their little hearts were a little uncomfortable. It's not really sick, it's pure envy. Although the ladies of the three firmaments don't know the origin of the wisteria flower and the old mountain ginseng, they can also see that they are extraordinary. This is definitely a first-class spiritual object of heaven and earth, a treasure that the three sisters cannot touch at present, and cannot be asked for. However, brother, he is disgusted again. Again. It was the same last time with the golden flood scissors. If Master Tongtian hadn't helped Brother Sheng refine the golden flood scissors into his dragon claws, Brother Sheng would probably continue to abandon him. Forget it, let's continue on the road. Sheng sighed softly, then hummed softly, wearing little red flowers on your head, everyone compliments you when you meet, and your parents laugh when you come home from school. The biggest advantage of his Sheng is that he has a good attitude. Big Xiao asked, Sister, brother, what song is he singing? It sounds very beautiful. Qian Xiao, I don't know, it's probably a dragon song. However, brother, he is really cute, especially after bringing this red flower, I really want to hug him. Along the way, Ao Sheng gained a lot. There are spirit medicines that have grown for thousands of years, but when Ao Sheng reaches his feet, they suddenly mature, and there are also spirit birds that suddenly fall from the sky and fall in front of Ao Sheng, with precious spirit beads in their mouths. Ao Sheng took the trouble, and ladies of the three firmaments cheerfully acted as a tool man who carries the bag. After 10 days and nights of hard work, they finally reached Mt Kunlun. It's not easy. At this moment, a majestic Taoist palace appeared in their eyes. There are 3 main halls in this palace, each of which is similar in style but completely different. The magnificence of the Dao Palace is beyond description for the 3 sisters, and beyond imagination for Ao Sheng. At this time, Ao Sheng was directly attached to the ground together with the dragon's belly. It's so tiring. The body is not tired at all, but the heart is tired. Master is so bad, he can get me to the top of the mountain with a wave of his sleeve, but he insists on letting me climb up. Damn it, this is entrapment of child labor, shameless. Just as his thoughts flashed, an extremely gentle voice came from the palace. Shenger, how long are you going to lie on the ground, why don't you come in soon? Ao Sheng shivered directly. It's the familiar Tongtian's voice. Hey, isn't Master Tongtian always aloof? Why is this voice suddenly so gentle now? This is simply the most classic dad style. Yes, Master. Ah. So, Ao Sheng had to cheer up again and entered the hall. As soon as he stepped into the main hall, a mighty azure divine light shone. All in all, 3 rays of light. Needless to say, the light source of these 3 divine lights must be the 3 pure ones. Wait. 3 pure ones, what are you doing? Who is more suitable to be a light bulb? Although the light wouldn't directly blind his Longan eyes, it was really uncomfortable. Tongtian's voice came again, what are you still doing in a daze, come and pay your respects to your senior uncle and second senior uncle. Ao Sheng immediately shook his head and crawled in. Disciple Ao Sheng, pay homage to the master and the second master. Meet master. Ladies of the 3 firmaments also came in and greeted them one by one. In the divine light, Tongtian gently rubbed his chest, and then saw the elder brother the grand pure one and the second brother the jade pure one who were also glowing. Hey, did you hear that? The 2 of you can only be the senior uncle and the second senior uncle. I, Tongtian, am the master. He said triumphantly, well, get up, your senior uncle and second senior uncle have been talking about you for a long time. Ao Sheng was taken aback. Numbered by saint. This doesn't seem like a good thing. Ao Sheng's ideal is, live forever and sleep forever. As for saint's favor, I'm afraid it is entangled in cause and effect. However, at this time, he still said, thank you, master, thank you for the kindness of the master and the second master. Tongtian was about to continue talking, but the second uncle in the middle said, Ao Sheng, although your exalted master has accepted you as an apprentice, you are still only an outer section. If you want, I can be the master and accept you as an apprentice, and accept you as an apprentice for my disciples. What do you want? As soon as this remark came out, Ao Sheng was stunned. As for the ladies of the 3 firmaments behind, they even lowered their heads and didn't even dare to breathe. This is poaching. And it was dug directly in front of my master. Boom. Ao Sheng immediately put his dragon head on the ground and shouted loudly, Ao Sheng thanked the second master for his love, but since Ao Sheng has worshipped the master, he will be a teacher for one day and a father for life. Then, just be silent. Faced with such a situation, Ao Sheng's expression was extremely frightened, and his body even trembled a little. But in his heart, it was like a bright mirror. 3 pure ones are stinky and shameless. Do you have interviews like this? I really have to say one thing, old people don't talk about martial arts. At this time, the 3 pure ones have not yet separated. Can you really do something like digging a wall in person? And the primeval lord of heavens, Yuan Shi spoke directly, but Tongtian didn't say a word? Isn't this clearly an interview? At this time, if I really showed a little bit of heartbeat, it would be. Dao heart is not firm, there is a rebellious bone in the back of the head, and the heart is not pure. Hey, although I'm too lazy to use my brain, I still have this kind of workplace experience. Sure enough, after saying this, Tongtian said, second brother, digging out my disciple in front of me is too much. The Grand Pure One smiled lightly at this moment, and said, "Your second uncle made a joke with you. Don't panic, get up first." As he spoke, he turned his palms. A gentle soft light floated towards Ao Sheng gently. New Year's Day and beyond will be even better, read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 12. There is no doubt that Ao Sheng's mood is very excited. This is a meeting ceremony. A meeting ceremony for the uncle of Saint the Grand Pure One in the future, this thing is always valuable. However, Ao Sheng has been in the workplace for so long in his previous life. Although he is a little milk dragon in this life, he still knows many taboos. He looked at the master invisibly. Tongtian chuckled lightly and said, "This is a golden elixir refined by the big brother. The golden elixir has a full 9 turns. Even if it is the golden immortal of the Great Way, I'm afraid I can't ask for it, but now I gave it to you, a little fairy, so thank you soon." Ao Sheng is a family of real dragons, and he is a celestial being when he breaks out of his shell. Compared with many creatures of the Great Primordial, it can be said that they won at the starting line. Of course, if it was the time when the Dragon Clan was at its most powerful, a bloodline of his caliber would probably be a profound immortal or even a golden immortal upon birth. It's just that today is different from the past. It is rumored that although the Dragon Clan is still strong, but with the heavenly curse in their blood, it will be difficult to restore their former strength. Ao Sheng immediately shouted loudly, "Xiao Long thanks Shivo for his great kindness." The elixir pattern of the golden elixir is the embodiment of the degree of compatibility with the heavenly Dao. The more Dan lines, the more Dao rhyme contained in it. What Tongtian said is true, whether it is now or in future generations, this 9-turn golden elixir is an extremely precious fetish. The Grand Saint of Purity was also willing to give this elixir to Ao Sheng. With Ao Sheng's current cultivation base, it is absolutely impossible to swallow the golden core. Just like the saying that mortals have deficiencies that cannot be replenished, it is even more so for immortals. Today's Ao Sheng, I'm afraid he can't even swallow the dust of a single golden elixir. At this moment, I heard the Grand Pure One smiled slightly and said, "Ao Sheng, this elixir is the first 9-rank golden elixir cultivated by the poor laziest, but you keep it well, it will be of great benefit to you." As soon as he finished speaking, Tongtian's heart suddenly jumped. He shouted in his heart, "Brother! You really still miss the disciple of poor laziest." The three of them had a small fight in the Kunlun Palace just now. They thought these two guys had given up their hearts, but they never expected that the eldest brother would value Ao Sheng so much. Of course, Tongtian can actually understand the big brother, because Ao Sheng's chi luck is really too powerful. Everyone is a candidate for saint, and they are all disciples of Hung Jun. After seeing Ao Sheng's experience, if you still don't know that his chi luck is strong, then don't think about sanctified. Eldest brother and second brother originally never wanted to accept apprentices, because they were afraid of being implicated by apprentices. But seeing Ao Sheng, the little dragon's chi luck, I'm afraid I've got a wrong mind, these two old fools. This 9-turn golden pill was already precious, but now that it has the first refined one, the meaning is even more different. If Ao Sheng realizes the Tao from this golden elixir, the karma between the two parties is far from the relationship between the uncle and the nephew, and even the karma of half the teacher. Senior brother, it really is an old silver coin. The roar in Tongtian's heart had just ended, and Yuanqi over there also said with a smile, "Your uncle gave such a precious thing, so naturally you can't be too bad as a second uncle. I don't know how to make alchemy, so I'll give you a ready-made one." After finishing speaking, a jade talisman floated over directly. This jade pendant is square, crystal clear, and compact, and its appearance is very delicate. Yuanqi said, "This is a jade talisman produced by the refinement of my enlightenment tool. It contains a thunder technique experience from your uncle and me. It can protect your path of cultivation, but you have kept it." Tongtian stared at Yuanqi immediately. Damn it, the second brother is indeed a good learner who doesn't learn from the bad, and he's even better than the blue. Ao Sheng took the jade talisman honestly, and shouted, Ao Sheng thanked the two masters for their kindness. He buried his head directly on the ground, but he was thinking in his heart, the senior uncle and the second senior uncle are too sincere, aren't they? Is it true that the three brothers are close, so they are amiable? Can't. Even if the relationship is good, there is no need to give such a meaningful treasure. Generally speaking, even if an outer disciple is given a meeting gift, it is enough for him to meet his status. Ao Sheng's mind turned quickly, and he quickly guessed some of the tricks. Hey, I guess I get it. The senior uncle and the second senior uncle must have taken a fancy to their chi luck. But it doesn't matter, they like to give me benefits, so I just keep them. Ao Sheng's request is very simple, all he needs is a good place to live happily and lazily for a long time, which is better than anything else. Since the senior uncle and the second senior uncle valued it, it would be more logical for them to stay out of the matter when they came to investiture of the gods after CO authoring. What's more, whether it's the first 9-turn golden elixir of Great Primordial, or this the Jade Pure One Jade Talisman, it's a first-class treasure. Tongtian saw that these two stinky and shameless people had already given gifts, and there was absolutely no possibility for them to take back the gifts. As soon as he gritted his teeth, he said, Ao Sheng, I have a treasure for you as a teacher. Snapped. He slapped Ao Sheng's forehead, and there was an extra blue lotus flower on the forehead between Ao Sheng's dragon horns. I want you to know that my teacher likes the way of the sword the most, and today I will teach you a sword soul that I practiced personally for my teacher. One is to let you have a practice guide, and the other is to tell you that the road of practice must be a torrent. Seeing Tongtian's operation, the senior uncle and the second senior uncle called him a good guy in their hearts. They looked at each other and silently transmitted voices. Yuanqi, brother, it seems that Tongtian is really in a hurry. This innate sword soul is condensed from the innate sword soul of the green grass sword that he wants to prove the Dao. He is directly planted into the little dragons. Among the primordial spirit. The grand pure one, it doesn't matter, this little dragon and we have already formed a karma, Tongtian is exalted master for him, so he has the upper hand. As for the future, who will know? The two looked at each other and smiled knowingly at the same time. But at this moment, Tongtian strongly inserted into the brother chat channel, and he said directly, Humph, thank you two elder brothers for giving me the disciples' treasure. The three brothers directly started a new round of discussions with primordial spirit. In fact, for them, Ao Sheng is just a surprise. Whether it's Tongtian or the Grand Pure One Yuanqi, they all know that if they want to prove the Dao, it's not just a little dragon's chi luck. They still need to find their own way to saint. Ao Sheng's chi luck is only a very weak boost to them. Of course, under the current circumstances, no amount of help should be grasped. At the same time, this is also a rivalry between the three brothers. Ao Sheng silently lowered his faucet, but his heart was flattered, and then. He is wearing the big great primordial that can make many great primordials envious, and directly in the Kunlun Palace. Fell asleep. As for the ladies of the three firmaments, they continued to tremble, not daring to make a sound. After a long time, the secret chat of the three brothers ended. When Tongtian saw Ao Sheng, his eyes immediately darkened. He frowned and fell asleep again. Humph, this little dragon, chi luck is good, but he's really too lazy. No, poor Daoist must grind his temper. Ao Sheng trembled for no reason. Woke up. New Year's Day and beyond will be even better, read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 13. This master's eyes are not right. I always feel that he is looking at me with malicious intentions. Ao Sheng is very keen on this kind of gaze, always feels like a pill. At this time, Tongtian said angrily, Okay, I have also greeted your senior uncle and second senior uncle, and it is time for us to go back. After he finished speaking, he turned and left. Ladies of the three firmaments still kneeling on the ground? Master, what should we do then? The lovely ladies of the three firmaments have become transparent people directly. Ao Sheng shouted, Oh, three junior sisters, hurry up and greet the seniors. Then he greeted the master uncle and the second martial uncle respectfully again, and then left with the three beautiful junior sisters. It wasn't until Tongtian left with his disciples that Yuanqi nodded and said, This Ao Sheng is really good. Although he comes from the dragon family, he is humble and polite, with a clear mind. Tongtian is a well-received disciple. The Grand Pure One also smiled slightly and nodded in approval, That's right, he's a shrewd disciple. Just hope you don't go astray. If Tongtian was still here, he would have to pull out the green grass sword immediately after hearing this sentence. These two old wretches are determined to rob my disciple. Sheng. The disciple is here. Are you going to fall asleep again? You can fall asleep while walking, are you a pig? Ao Sheng flicked the faucet quickly, opened his eyes, and said, Master, you can't wrong the dragon, I don't want to fall asleep, I just close my eyes and think about something. Humph, you lazy dragon. Master, you are wrong, the disciple is a sleepy dragon. The sleepy dragon rises to the sky, its magic power is boundless. Tongtian stopped abruptly. Ao Sheng didn't pay attention and almost bumped into Master's A. Tongtian said, Shenger, your senior uncle and second senior uncle have bad intentions for you, you should keep a distance from them. Ao Sheng scratched his head with his little dragon claw, then touched the little red flower, and said, Master, no, the master and the second master are super nice. As he spoke, he complained in his heart, okay, this old man is very bad, and he gave me another workplace trap. At this time, if it is true, I will say, the disciple knows. Tongtian is satisfied on the surface, but there will be another pit in his heart, you kid dare to slander my elder brother and second brother. Ao Sheng understands very well, they are brothers, and it is far from the time to separate. At this time, how the brothers fight against each other is their own business. Tongtian can scold these two senior brothers to death in his heart, but if others say that they are not in front of him, Tongtian can also cut you with a sword. However, the disciple needs to retreat and practice painstakingly. I am afraid that there will be very few opportunities to visit the master and the second master. After hearing this, Tongtian was really satisfied. Hey, you still know how to practice hard. Let's go, come with me to meet your senior brother and second senior sister. The senior brother is naturally Duobao, but the second senior sister is Wudang. Now Tongtian's sect has only received 2 true teachings, but none of the other disciples. After all, although Tongtian yearns to accept apprentices in his heart, but he has not yet sanctified, he really dare not accept apprentices too happily, and he is also afraid of karma. After a while, the master and apprentice returned to the hall of the Supreme Pure One. At this time, Mt Kunlun has the Kunlun Dao Palace, which is the place where the 3 brothers enlightened and discussed the Tao together. There is also a palace of their own, namely, the Supreme Pure One Hall, the Jade Pure One Hall, the Grand Pure One Hall. A man and a woman came out and saluted together, Duobao, Wudang, meet exalted master. Ao Sheng silently looked at himself behind Tongtian, whether he was a senior or a senior. Duobao? It's not very fat, it's just that the face is a little swollen. This Duobao is tall and big, with thick eyebrows, exuding an indescribable arrogance. But another senior sister Wudang is completely different from senior brother Duobao. This senior sister has a very graceful figure, but her face can only be regarded as mediocre. It's just that when your eyes fall on her mediocre face, you still feel a sense of intimacy, as if you are in a beautiful nature, which makes you feel comfortable. Tongtian nodded, and then said, this time I went to the sea to kill beasts as a teacher, and I took 4 disciples. This is your junior brother Ao Sheng, this is Yung Xiao, Kaiyang Xiao, and junior sister Big Xiao. They are my outer disciples for the time being. Ao Sheng and ladies of the 3 firmaments greeted at the same time, meet my brothers and sisters. Tongtian waved his hand and said, Duobao, Wudang, you are so good at taking care of your juniors and juniors, don't neglect them. After he finished speaking, he went directly to the inner hall. Apparently, this trip to slay the beast made him feel enlightened again, and he was ready to go to enlightenment. After Tongtian left, Duobao looked at Ao Sheng and ladies of the 3 firmaments. The first thing he saw was the little red flower on Ao Sheng's head. He thought to himself, there is also a flower on the head of the dragon clan, it is really nondescript. However, he is a young dragon after all, and he needs to be educated in the future, but he cannot lose the face of his master. Duobao thought that Ao Sheng brought the red flower himself. He was about to look at ladies of the 3 firmaments, but his eyes fell directly on Ao Sheng's dragon tail. This is... Duobao will never fail to recognize this thing. This is the old ginseng king he has been chasing for a long time. This, but the king of innate energy, once obtained, can make his cultivation breakthrough, and perhaps hope to impact the golden immortal of the Great Way. In desperation, Duobao couldn't help blurting out, Ao Sheng, how could this king of ginseng be on you? Duobao has been obsessed with this ginseng king for too long. If it wasn't for the palace of the Supreme Pure One, he almost wanted to grab it directly. Ao Sheng's dragon eyebrows suddenly clustered. This Duobao's temper is really disgusting. To be honest, because of the introduction of the original characters, his impression of Duo Bao is not very good. And now the other party's words and deeds made him even more disgusted. However, this is the hall of the Supreme Pure One after all, and the opponent is his elder brother. He still replied, "Oh, it's King Shen who relied on me. Depend on you." Duo Bao feels that his intelligence has been insulted. He didn't know how long he had been begging for this ginseng king, and he always wanted to capture it. He even asked the exalted master to help deduce the position once. But I just can't catch it. But now, this little thing actually said that King Shen had fallen for him. Hey, brother, are you a fool to be a brother? P.S. The last madness of the company, the update is late. Today, I will continue to make a base for the 4th update, and after a rest, I will be able to code every day. New Year's Day and beyond will be even better. Read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 14. Duo Bao's slightly bloated face immediately showed an angry look. He thought to himself, humph, what a slippery little dragon, he must be relying on his own dragon clan status and be arrogant. He was still sneering in his heart, the dragon clan is already in the sunset, but they still have this arrogance. Even if this old ginseng king wants to attach himself, it should be attached to a future saint like exalted master. Even master and his elders have said that this old ginseng king can be regarded as half of the innate spirit root. And I have spent so much energy and paid a lot of money, but I have never seen the true face of this King Shen. Therefore, Duo Bao directly concluded that Ao Sheng was deceiving himself. Humph, junior brother, could it be that you think that you are from the dragon clan, so senior brother, I won't punish you. While speaking, he stretched out his palm and grabbed Ao Sheng's dragon tail. Ladies of the three firmaments saw senior brother Duo Bao make a move, and wanted to protect Ao Sheng. But the aura revealed by Duo Bao is really too domineering. After this, Duo Bao has worshipped Tongtian as his teacher, he has already set his own path, following the path of I am the only one. He is now the golden immortal of supreme unity, how can the ladies of the three firmaments stop him? Don't even dare to move. At this moment, Ao Sheng felt a mountain-like pressure coming directly, and his heart suddenly burst. Duo Bao wants to show me off. As Tongtian's disciple, the future Tathagata Buddha ancestor, Duo Bao certainly wouldn't be so foolish as to see Bao's idea, and then just go tough. What he is doing at this moment is obviously to directly subdue his new disciple with his domineering aura. In the future, let yourself develop the idea of being the only Duo Bao. Ao Sheng shouted psychologically, this fat man. Damn it! How dare you bully me like this, don't bully the boy. Forget it, he doesn't want to either. Don't bully the young and the poor. It seems unlikely in the Great Primordial. Great Primordial is getting better with age. However, Ao Sheng is still not panicking. Tongtian even gave himself that sword soul, did he let himself be bullied by Duo Bao? Obviously not. Humph, if I'm bullied, then I'll immediately take refuge in the senior uncle and the second senior uncle. Ao Sheng is sure that he is not in any danger. So, Ao Sheng pretended not to be afraid, and stared at Duo Bao. Anyone who wants to be domineering hates to see other people's unyielding, hateful eyes. Of course, although it was acted out, it did reveal some true feelings. No matter before or after crossing, Ao Sheng is actually not a personality that is easy to yield. But at this moment, crack! A green lightning shot out directly from Ao Sheng's body. That lightning is extremely fast. Before Duo Bao came back to his senses, he was already slammed into his palm by the lightning. What? Duo Bao withdrew his hand like lightning, and took a look. In the palm of his hand, there was actually a faint light red bloodstain. The body of golden immortal of supreme unity was almost broken. This time, his anger was even stronger. That domineering energy is about to burst out like a cow. Ao Sheng looked at his own dragon tail in surprise. Ao Sheng must have done it himself just now, after all, he has no such ability for the time being. That green lightning bolt was released by King Shen on his dragon's tail. The ginseng whiskers of this ginseng king are still floating at this moment, and the tentacles are floating one by one, glowing green. From a distance, it looks like Ao Sheng Long has another tail growing on it. Originally, Ao Sheng also disliked this shameless ginseng king, so he just stuck on his tail and refused to leave. But now old ginseng king, fierce. How did he know that this King Shen had lived for 3 million years after he acquired the innate energy? It's a pity that he itself is just a slightly spiritual ginseng that has swallowed innate spiritual energy, so it can't be regarded as a real innate spirit root, and the heal is not enough. Otherwise, all of them will be able to incarnate successfully and become a great power of the great primordial. Hey! Duobao's eyes froze suddenly, but he saw that the little dragon was wagging its tail triumphantly. He immediately said coldly, "Ao Sheng, you are so bold." Ao Sheng replied directly, "Senior brother, I am really courageous, otherwise I would have been scared to death by you, senior brother." "Brother, the master asked you to take care of the younger brother before, but you are bullying the master." As expected of a senior brother Duobao, he doesn't pay attention to master. The corner of Duobao's mouth curled up into a 45-degree slanted smile, and he said, "Sharp teeth." He wanted to continue speaking, when a voice came, "Brother. It is useless to speak." This Wudang senior sister appeared in front of Ao Sheng and Duobao in a blink of an eye. She frowned and looked at Duobao, who was really angry, and said, "Senior brother, you should be able to tell that this is the attack of King Shen. Although King Shen cannot transform into form, he has a real spirit." Close. Since King Shen will protect the younger brother, it can be seen that what the younger brother said is true. Call Duobao let out a sigh of relief and said, "Humph, but I lost my sense of proportion, brother. Junior brother, you are worshipping master, but you hope you can strictly abide by the school rules." After speaking, Duobao walked away directly. After Duobao left, the oppression in the Supreme Pure One Hall suddenly disappeared. Wudang looked at Ao Sheng and shook his head helplessly, "Junior brother, you really shouldn't provoke senior brother Duobao on purpose. Senior brother Duobao, he has chosen the path of dominance. You contradicted him today." Ao Sheng said dejectedly, "Senior sister, you saw that this is clearly senior brother Duobao's fault. Besides, I didn't do anything." Holy Virgin Wudang looked at his aggrieved expression and smiled. She hesitated for a moment, but still stretched out her hand and rubbed gently on his dragon horn. "Ao Sheng. Well, senior sister Wudang also considers herself a little milk meow dragon." She added, "But don't worry, senior brother is at most domineering, as long as you don't make mistakes, he won't do anything to you." Ao Sheng flicked the dragon's tail. "Okay, I'll show you around Kunlun." In fact, Wudang has an idea in his heart at this moment, "Master, the attitude towards this junior brother Ao Sheng seems very unusual." Although Master's words earlier seemed casual, it was obvious that he was careful and inappropriate. Master was specifically emphasizing his love for Ao Sheng to them. The reason why Duobao targeted Ao Sheng was partly because of King Shen, and more likely because of jealousy in his heart. Wudang quickly dismissed this idea. After all, the exalted master's intentions should not have been speculated by himself. When Ao Sheng was taken by Wudang to wander around the various hills of Kunlun, Feilian, who had lost an arm, and Bai Fang, who had paid a lot of money, finally returned to Heavenly Court. Bai Fang shouted to the general guarding the gate, "Quickly, report to your majesties, I have something important to report." P.S. There are at least 2 more updates, the younger brother continues. New Year's Day and beyond will be even better, read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 15. Boom. In the luxurious Heavenly Court Hall, that Emperor Jun slapped an emerald and white jade table to pieces with a single slap. Presumptuous. That Tongtian, how bold. He dared to hurt me, Heavenly Court envoy. Everyone knows that the great Primordial, Feilian and Bai Fang are the demon gods of the Heavenly Court. But Tongtian didn't care about it at all, and cut off Feilian's arm directly. Tongtian's sword, the destructive sword energy in it is so terrifying, even a golden immortal of the Great Way like Feilian can't make the severed arm grow back at all. Even, the sword energy is still eroding his soul. At this time Tai said, "Tongtian is Hung Jundao ancestor direct disciple." He knocked on his desk with his fingers, and after pondering for a while, he said, "However, from this point of view, it is almost impossible for him to unite with the Dragon Clan. This is also a good thing. If they really wanted to support the Dragon Clan, then Bai Fang and Feilian would not be able to return to Heavenly Court." Emperor Jun stared and said, "Good thing. Humph, this is completely neglecting you and my brother. They are now the masters of the Heavenly Court, and they were conferred by Dao ancestor himself. But with Tongtian's attitude, why did he put them in his eyes? Tai Yi shook his head slightly, and said with a smile, "Brother, the origin of the three pure ones is already noble, and it is the Dao ancestor direct disciple. Almost everyone knows that they are future saints, and some tempers are normal. After all, from this point of view, Fei Lian and Bai Feng have indeed violated each other's taboo. No matter what the reason was, it was a fact that Fei Lian wanted to attack that Tongtian disciple. As long as he doesn't interfere with the Dragon Clan, it's already very good." Emperor Jun suppressed his anger and nodded. "Reason, indeed." Tai Yi said at this time, "However, this matter can't be left alone. My reputation as Heavenly Court cannot be compromised. I, the demon god of Heavenly Court, can't be hurt like this. Well, I'll go to Mt Kunlun myself and ask three pure ones for an explanation. Now that the three pure ones have not yet been sanctified, it will take a battle to find out which one is better. Of course, going to Tai this time is not really a fight with three pure ones. Fei Lian is not dead, so everything is trivial. Just to ask for an explanation. Of course, on the other hand, Tongtian's sword energy is really domineering. Both he and Emperor Jun can get rid of this sword energy. But if they do it themselves, Fei Lian's soul will be permanently traumatized, and it will not be easy to recover. Alright, Tai, be careful on this trip." Tai Yi shook his hand and said, "It's okay, three pure ones is alone at the moment, and will not easily form karma with us. Fei Lian, Bai Feng, you two come with me." Bai Feng and Fei Lian looked at each other, with excitement and joy flashing at the same time. "Your Majesty wants to make decisions for them." Wu Dang took Ao Sheng to visit Mt Kunlun, and finally said earnestly, "Junior brother Ao Sheng, it's better to avoid your senior brother in the future, and don't confront him." Yes, junior brother knows." Ao Sheng wagged the dragon's tail and said, Yuze, I reckon that senior brother has a bad temper, and I'm afraid he will be unlucky sooner or later. There is a saying that a cheap person will be collected by heaven." Holy Virgin Wu Dang chuckled lightly and said, "Nonsense, this place is Mt Kunlun, not to mention senior brother Duobao has profound mana, how can there be bad luck? Great Primordial has the theory of chi luck, and of course there is also the theory of bad luck. It's just that Mt Kunlun is the dojo of three pure ones, a wonderful place of heaven and earth, where merit gathers." Of course, she didn't care too much. Ao Sheng raised his dragon claw, "Senior sister, here, this is for you." The gift from Ao Sheng is still flowers. Wu Dang smiled lightly and said, "Although this flower is not as good as the purple water chestnut flower above your head, it is also an elixir at the level of nearly 10,000 years. Even for me, it can allow me to advance a little bit in the golden immortal of supreme unity. Really give it to me." Ao Sheng said very politely, Senior sister, no matter how precious the elixir is, it can't match the love of senior sister. Senior sister, if you need it, just take it." At this moment, Wu Dang probably already knew why Master loved this little dragon so much. Just because the luck of this little dragon is really too good to be true. Just for a while when she was taking Ao Sheng to visit Mt Kunlun, this little dragon accidentally obtained more than 10 kinds of spiritual herbs and elixir. Even at this moment, she was still thinking in her heart, "I wouldn't believe it if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes. I have been to so many places on weekdays, but I have never found that there are hidden elixir herbs." But when the little dragon walked by, these elixir and fairy grasses seemed to have grown their own feet, and they found them by themselves. "Okay, now senior sister will take you to find a cave to settle down. Today's Mt Kunlun is very empty. In the huge Mt Kunlun, there are many caves. Junior brother, what requirements do you have for the Dongfu?" Ao Sheng said directly, "Spacious enough and quiet enough." When they were looking for the cave, Duobao stood on top of a peak and looked straight at Ao Sheng. How lucky is this little dragon? Of course, he didn't use his power to spy, he just happened to see it. Forget it, leave him alone. He wasn't really going to make trouble with the newly accepted disciple of the master because of a trivial matter. So, Duobao just closed his eyes and breathed out the aura of heaven and earth, just like in the past. Now, Duobao's cultivation has reached the late stage of golden immortal of supreme unity, which is only one step away from Great Way Immortal. Suddenly, a sense of domineering was formed. Duobao is worthy of being Tongtian's big disciple, at this moment he seems to be integrated with the whole mountain. This movement naturally made Ao Sheng look sideways. Also, it's really amazing. Xiaolong muttered in his mouth, Duobao who pretends to beep is too arrogant. Humph, it's best to burn him directly. Wu Dang patted him on the head again, and said, what are you thinking, where did MT Kunlun come from? Boom! A loud noise broke the tranquility of MT Kunlun. A ray of raging fire fell from the sky and came directly towards MT Kunlun. Wu Dang. P.S. There are a lot of work reports today, and it took some time to get involved in Demon Race, so the update is late. I will have a day off tomorrow, and I will update it well. Good night. New Year's Day and beyond will be even better. Read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 16. Why MT Kunlun, how did you get the sky fire? However, the sky fire is coming. This sky fire, like the blazing sun falling from the sky, covered the entire MT Kunlun with mighty flames, forming an extremely mighty and terrifying flame sky. That day, the flames came head-on, and Duobao, who had just entered the state of cultivation, was almost flooded by the flames. Wu Dang glanced at Ao Sheng suddenly, his originally benevolent and peaceful eyes were full of surprises at the moment. Ao Sheng lifted the faucet weakly and said, Senior sister, don't look at me like this, I haven't done anything. Yung Xiao, Big Xiao, Kaiang Xiao can also testify for me, I am innocent. Seeing Ao Sheng's innocent expression, Wu Dang squatted down again and began to stroke Ao Sheng's faucet. Needless to say, the faucet of the little junior brother is really comfortable to the touch. Ao Sheng directly protested, Senior sister, stop touching me, I'm not a puppy. But at this moment, Duobao roared. Where is this evil animal so bold? As he spoke, his body swelled suddenly. The original miniature fat guy instantly turned into a huge god with a height of 108,000 feet, and his domineering aura suddenly spread. At this moment, Ao Sheng finally understood a little bit what is called I am the only one. Even if he can't understand Duobao's bad temper, he has to admit that Duobao's mana is indeed powerful. Give poor Daist down. He punched out, and the terrifying momentum suddenly dominated the world. According to Ao Sheng's point of view at this time, it is full of force. The terrifying punch directly hit the center of the flame. But at this moment, a light laugh came, as expected of senior brother Tongtian's disciple, he is quite capable, but a bit arrogant. A more terrifying force suddenly released from the flames. The gigantic god Duobao, who was hundreds of thousands of meters high, was lightly slapped by this force, and almost plunged into the mountain abruptly. Originally majestic and powerful, but at this moment, he was beaten into a hard plant. Ao Sheng didn't laugh at him either, just said softly, look, this is what happens to ruthless pretenders. However, his sarcasm was sarcasm, and he knew very well that it wasn't that Duobao was too weak, but that the opponent was too strong. After all, who can call Tongtian a senior brother, how many people can there be in this great primordial? Of course, the opponent obviously didn't mean to care about Duobao, he just suppressed his body for a while and stopped immediately. Otherwise, judging from the power of the attack just now, if the opponent is willing, they can really shoot the Duobao directly into the ground. Wu Dang's senior sister's voice tightened at this moment, and she said, it's the real fire of the sun. Junior brother, go back quickly. But at this moment, a cyan brilliance suddenly appeared in MT Kunlun. The brilliance was like practice, and it immediately turned into a fairy sword. With the sweep of this sword in the air, all the divine fires disappeared immediately. A voice sounded, not angry but arrogant. Tai, do you dare to come to my MT Kunlun to make trouble? Tongtian didn't come out, but the green grass sword was already hanging high in the sky of MT Kunlun, with the momentum of cutting the sky and the earth with a sword. Ao Sheng looked at the sword hanging in the air, and his heart was full of shock. This is the real overbearing. Compared with Tongtian, Duobao's dominance is really childish. Obviously, Duobao's I am the only one is probably also learned from Tongtian. Of course, Tongtian's own Tao is obviously not this way, but this side will occasionally be reflected in his actions. At this time, Wu Dang rolled Ao Sheng and ladies of the three firmaments and returned to the Supreme Pure One Hall. After the green grass sword, the flames dissipated. Then, a man dressed in a golden imperial robe, a red cloak, and a supreme leveling crown appeared. This person is naturally Tai from Heavenly Court. Facing Tongtian's harsh criticism, he didn't care at all, just smiled and said, Senior brother Tongtian misunderstood, Tai came here with 2 juniors from Heavenly Court to plead guilty to senior brother. Tongtian obviously didn't want to let it go. The green grass sword was shining brightly, as if it was about to strike at any moment. But at this moment, the voice of the Grand Pure One came, "Junior brother, the visitor is a guest, let His Majesty Tai come in first." Tai Yi laughed and said, "Thank you, brother the Grand Pure One." Afterwards, he took the 2 demon gods and stepped directly into Mt Kunlun. Tai walked all the way, glanced at the surroundings, and thought in his heart, this Mt Kunlun really deserves to be the top sacred mountain of the Great Primordial. Not to mention the vast land and abundant resources, there are even more sacred herbs and treasures in it. It is much more spiritual than my heavenly court. They are the Emperor of Heaven, in charge of the entire Great Primordial, and should be the head of the Great Primordial. But heavenly court is still a notch behind Mt Kunlun. Humph! He snorted coldly in his heart. It made him very unhappy that the powerful status of 3 pure ones was above the Great Primordial Emperor of Heaven. But the difference between Tai and Emperor Jun is that he can see reality clearly. There are thoughts in my heart, but I will not give birth to emotions and affect my judgment. He walked all the way and went directly to the Kunlun Taoist Palace. Inside the Dao Palace, the 3 pure ones are already waiting in the main hall. Tongtian's complexion was not good, after all, this Tai almost buried his eldest disciple directly. And Duo Bao behind him looked even worse. Staring at Tai Yi with hatred eyes. One can imagine the unwillingness and anger in his heart when someone like him who possesses a domineering and self-respecting nature is treated like this. At this moment, he wants to shout more than Ao Sheng, "Tai Yi, don't bully the young and poor." Ao Sheng's body was floating, dangling in a bright and spacious cave facing the sun. After looking around, he said to Wu Dang, "Senior sister, I will choose this as the cave." Wu Dang questioned again, "Junior brother, the aura of this cave can only be said to be average, or even low, and it is not suitable for cultivation. The one that senior sister found for you earlier, is full of aura, which is very helpful for practice. No need, just leave such a good cave to others." Ao Sheng quickly refused. "I can do this. In the whole of Mt Kunlun, there is no better place to sleep than here. At that time, the mountain will be pierced with magic power, and a bright skylight will be built on the top of the cave. Well, find a way to get a comfortable bed. This life is really not too good." Ao Sheng was hardworking and began to conceive of his future better life. However, the reality is always helpless. A voice came, "Wu Dang, bring Ao Sheng and ladies of the 3 firmaments to the Kunlun Palace." "Ao Sheng? Meow meow meow. Master, you are a dialogue between big brothers, why call me here?" In the Kunlun Taoist Palace, Tongtian looked at Tai, and said coldly, "Tai, since you know your mistake, whether you will forgive or not depends on my little disciple. New Year's Day and beyond will be even better, read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 17. Inside the Kunlun Palace, a needle drop could be heard quietly. Tongtian's face was condensed, his gaze was like a sword. The Grand Pure One and Yuanshi are 2 old gods, one with his eyes closed, and the other looking straight out of the Dao Palace gate. Emperor of Heaven Tai's eyes narrowed slightly, and he didn't know what he was thinking about. But behind them, Fei Lian and Bai Fang were furious. What does Tongtian mean by this? How could the dignified Emperor of Heaven still wait for a young apprentice from Tongtian to decide whether to forgive him or not? This Tongtian is obviously embarrassing His Majesty, hateful. However, at this time they dared not speak out. Last time, Tongtian's sword not only cut off Fei Lian's arm, but also completely killed their courage and arrogance. Tai Yi finally spoke, "He, senior brother Tongtian, I am envious of you, a little disciple, for being able to make you love me so much." His tone was refreshing, as if he hadn't thought of this level at all. After a while, Wu Dang came in with Ao Sheng and ladies of the 3 firmaments. "Exalted Master, junior brother Ao Sheng and junior sister ladies of the 3 firmaments have arrived." Tongtian nodded, and said to them, "I haven't seen you Master Uncle soon." He used the Master Uncle, not the Emperor of Heaven. It's just a name, but it also means a lot. If Ao Sheng is allowed to meet the Emperor of Heaven, it means that their 3 pure ones recognize the existence of the Emperor of Heaven. But now, they just let them meet the Master Uncle. What this means is, if you Tai hadn't been listening to the sermon in Xiao Palace together, with the relationship of senior brother and brother, I, Tongtian, would not let you come in my Xiao Palace today. However, Tai Yi still didn't change his face, and didn't care at all. Wu Dang, Ao Sheng, Yung Xiao, Kaiyang Xiao, Big Xiao, met Master Uncle. Tai raised his hand and said with a smile, hee, there is no need to be polite. Brother Tongtian's disciples all look like dragons and phoenixes, which is really enviable to me. He had just finished speaking when he heard a tender voice, Master Uncle, don't be envious, is there a meeting gift? After he finished speaking, everyone's eyes fell on him. Ao Sheng suddenly felt a little hot all over his body. Tongtian laughed and cursed, and said, Humph, you little BD, your master uncle is the great primordial heavenly court great emperor, and you still need to ask for the gift. Ao Sheng quickly lowered his faucet and said repeatedly, yes, 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 the disciple knows his mistake. It's just that he was thinking in his heart, hey, master is worthy of being the future saint, he is really on the right track. The words of the two masters and apprentices are actually cheating Tai. Tai's eyes flashed, and he could understand the meaning no matter how stupid he was. He still didn't care, although you master uncles are emperor of heaven, you are very poor. You came here in a hurry today, and you don't have many gifts. So, when you are free someday, you go to my heavenly court, master uncle, and I will definitely choose something that satisfies you. In this way, you directly admit that you are poor. Hearing this, Ao Sheng thought, this is too powerful. Such a calm admission that he is poor shows that he is extremely patient. Such people are often much more terrifying than those who go head on for the sake of face. Ao Sheng understands this, and so does three pure ones. Tongtian didn't dwell on this topic any longer, and said, Shenger, your master uncle hopes to give away Fei Lian's sword energy as your master, what do you think? In fact, on the way here, Ao Sheng probably already guessed this matter. When I saw the broken arm hero Fei Lian, I was even more sure. But he still complained in his heart, it's a hard life, the master actually uses me as a tool dragon, hey. If it weren't for the fact that Tongtian's thighs are thicker, I wouldn't be a teacher. Ao Sheng asked cautiously, Master, let me tell the truth. He shrunk his head slightly, then glanced at Tai Yi secretly, and asked, there will be no such thing as revenge. Tai's face remained unchanged, but he said in his heart, hey? This little thing. Humph, at such a young age, he is quite a formidable character. Whether it's the unreasonable begging for gifts who just came in, or the scared questioning today, they all directly embarrass Tai Yi. Especially the second sentence is a routine. This made him appreciate Ao Sheng a lot. Tongtian had already said at this time, don't worry, your Tai master uncle is quite broad-minded, so it won't happen. Ao Sheng said immediately, then I won't forgive you. Master, if you don't act, I will be killed. The apprentice is courageous, and his heart is as small as courage. Hey, master, I will do my best to match your performance. I beg you to get a good night's sleep later. Tongtian looked at Tai Yi and said, Junior brother Tai Yi, you also heard that my apprentice almost lost his life. Fei Lian lost only one arm. Ao Sheng added in his heart, here, the master should take an old teacup and take a sip slowly, which is more forceful. He suddenly found a Huadian. Hey? Don't the bosses of this era drink tea? Tai finally couldn't help laughing loudly, ha ha ha. Good, good, good. Senior brother Tongtian, I will remember this too soon. However, I'm Tai, and I don't want to return empty-handed today. How about making a bet with brother Tongtian today? With the horizontal sword in front of him, Tongtian said, say. Brother Tongtian, let's talk about it. If I am too lucky to be undefeated, please brother Tongtian pull out Fei Lian's sword energy and return Bafang's sycamore wood. Tongtian said directly, I won't lose, tell me what you can give. Ao Sheng complained in his heart, be good, master is really good at talking about death. Suddenly understand why Tongtian didn't even have a single supporter during the investiture of the gods' battle. At this moment, Tai waved his hand. A star swayed past and appeared in the Kunlun Dao Palace. The starlight condensed and finally turned into a long sword. The sword is like a galaxy, and the galaxy turns into a sword. Tai, innate spirit treasure, galaxy sword. Tongtian calmed down a little, and said, yes. For the sake of the good gift you gave, the poor deist will draw out his sword energy for Failien in a while. Tai didn't speak, just sneered. But at this time, a weak voice sounded again, didn't you just say that you are poor, stingy? Taiki. New Year's Day and beyond will be even better, read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 18. Tongtian glared at Ao Sheng angrily, and said, as long as you talk too much, do you still want this innate spirit treasure? Ao Sheng lowered his head and curled his lips, thinking, humph, then I won't talk about it next time. Tai, follow me to Tianweishan. After all, Tongtian walked out of the Kunlun Palace first, and then disappeared without a trace. Tai Yi chuckled and said, brother, take a step slowly. The Kunlun Taoist Palace became quiet again. At this time, the Grand Pure One said, Sheng Uncle, the disciple is here. When the uncle spoke, Ao Sheng immediately listened respectfully. The Grand Pure One smiled and said, you did very well. Ao Sheng showed a puzzled face and asked, hey. Master Uncle, the disciple didn't do anything. The Grand Pure One nodded, and said, it's really good to do nothing. Ao Sheng, in fact, you are suitable to be a poor deist's disciple. This uncle, we can secretly talk about poaching. At this time, Yuan Shi was not far behind, and said, dare to express your heart, speak freely, and explain your thoughts, Ao Sheng, your way is more in line with mine again. All right, master isn't here anyway. Ao Sheng hurriedly said, thank you for the love of the two masters. Although the disciple has worshipped under the master, he can still come to listen to the teachings of the two masters all the time. The uncle smiled lightly, and the second uncle nodded, obviously quite satisfied. At this time, the Grand Pure One asked, Ao Sheng, you are so smart, why not guess, your master or Natai, who will win? Don't these old grandpas have too much time to practice Taoism, and they want to test others at every turn? But since it was the uncle who spoke, he couldn't help but say it. So, he said, Master, it must be my master who won. Master is one of the three pure ones, how could he lose to others? Although the faces of the senior uncle and the second senior uncle are still unchanged, everyone can see that there is an indescribable joy in their brows and eyes at this moment. Wu Dang's senior sister watched from the side, she couldn't help nodding and said, Junior brother, he is really smart. This simple sentence directly satisfied the master uncle and the second master uncle at the same time. I really don't know how this little thing that was just born can know so many ways. At this time Yuan Shi also asked, so, what else? Ao Sheng, just say what you have to say, don't hide half a word. Saint's eyes are really poisonous, you can see it. Ao Sheng said in a low voice, although Master won, it shouldn't be too easy to win. Tai, the Emperor of Heaven, might struggle a little bit. In the end, Master narrowly won with half a move. Yuan Shi asked, Hee, can you guess this too? Ao Sheng just laughed dryly, just guessing. Yuan Shi and Taisheng didn't ask any more questions, they both closed their eyes at the same time. The two of them didn't speak, and ladies of the three firmaments naturally didn't dare to make any sound. Ao Sheng directly laid his dragon body on the weak meditation mat, feeling sleepy again. Well, I'm still dreaming, there are everything in the dream. As soon as he said this, his eyelids became heavier and heavier. Ao Sheng. A majestic voice sounded directly in Ao Sheng's mind. Yes. I didn't sleep. Ao Sheng woke up suddenly, and directly wiped his closest hollow with the dragon's claws. Hat, your senior sister Big Xiao carried you back to the Supreme Pure One Hall, you didn't even know, and you said you were up. Ao Sheng shook his head and looked, sure enough, this place is no longer within the Kunlun Palace. At this moment, there is no one else around except myself and Master. Tongtian smiled lightly and said, okay, don't think about making up any excuses. You lazy BD. Ao Sheng nodded quickly and said, yes, what Master taught is true. Ao Sheng. The disciple is here. You are very smart, and you are very satisfied as a teacher. Ha ha ha. Well, the disciple didn't do anything. Here, take it. Brother Tongtian gently pushed his palm, and then a cloud of starlight slowly came in front of Ao Sheng. This is... Even Ao Sheng was excited at this moment. Seeing this starlight, he naturally thought of, innate spirit treasure galaxy sword. Tongtian said with a big sigh, this sword is given to you. At this time, Ao Sheng's favorability for Tongtian increased again. As expected of the big brother Tongtian, Ao Sheng couldn't help stretching out his little claws to grab the galaxy sword. However, the moment his dragon claw touched the Xing sword, he suddenly hesitated. It's not right. Master's expression at this time seems to be wrong. This, Master, if you have anything to say, let's finish it at once. Tongtian narrowed his eyes and said, take it. Yes. Ao Sheng still held the treasure in his hands. However, I always feel that this treasure is a bit hot to hold. Tongtian said, I heard from your senior uncle and second senior uncle that you actually guessed the result of the teacher's fight with that Tai. Based on what? Tell me and listen. Because Tai said he was unbeaten, but he took out the Xing sword, and because Master, you promised to help Fei Lian draw out the sword energy. Tongtian nodded in praise, smart. Then Tai is the incarnation of the Golden Crow after all, and he has the help of Emperor of Heaven Chi Luk, so his cultivation is not weak. Being a teacher can defeat him, but you have to pay a heavy price. That's why you're taking advantage of him. You don't hold grudges, do you? After going around for a long time, it turned out that the boss Tongtian was afraid that he would be dissatisfied. Great Primordial, good Master. How is it possible? Master has treated me with such kindness as a mountain, so this disciple would not have such thoughts. Tongtian smiled, and then looked serious, hee, that's fine. Then, it's time to arrange your homework. This. Assign homework? Sure enough, the master is cunning and cunning, first he will play an emotion card, and then he will come. Since you have entered my sect, you should naturally practice my Dao method. From now on, you will follow your senior sister Wu Dane to practice the Supreme Pure One immortal art. Within 10 years, you must step into the realm of Xian. If you can complete it, I will tell you something related to your dragon clan as a teacher. P.S. Let me talk about the realm again. Human immortal, demon immortal, earth immortal, celestial immortal, true immortal, Xian, golden immortal of supreme unity, golden immortal of the great way, pseudo-saint, saint. New Year's Day and beyond will be even better, read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 19. 10 years. Master, this disciple was born only a few days ago, and his current cultivation level is nothing more than a fairy. You can't treat me so cruelly. From Tianxian to Xianxian, there are still 2 full realms. Tongtian smiled lightly and said, this matter is related to demon race's strategy for the dragon clan. If you really don't care about the dragon clan, then you can do whatever you want. Ao Sheng. With a wave of his hand, Tongtian directly ejected Ao Sheng out of the hall of the Supreme Pure One. It wasn't until Ao Sheng left that Tongtian's eyes flashed a trace of seriousness. Hey, these 2 golden crows are interesting. Especially that one. The 2 went to Tianweishan to fight, just as Ao Sheng said, in the end Tongtian narrowly won with half a move. But that wasn't a real victory at all. It can even be said that the 2 sides are just going through the motions to test each other. Tai is also a person who listened to Taoism in Zi Xiaogong, and he came from a good background. If the 2 sides really want to fight, I don't know how long it will take. The 2 went to Tianweishan, but each made a move. However, with just one move, Tongtian also felt the approximate level of Tai. Hey, it's not easy to fight this golden crow to the death. Unless I use green grass sword to cast a sword that breaks the path, otherwise I will not be able to break through his bell of primordial chaos. Before they proclaim themselves emperor, Tongtian is confident that he can defeat him directly. But now, Tongtian feels that he has to pay a price to beat Tai. From this we can see how great the help of this Emperor of Heaven Chi Luk is to cultivation. Although Tongtian has absolute confidence in himself, he has to admit that if he continues at the current level, Tai Yi and Emperor Jun may really be able to improve their cultivation faster than his 3 brothers. He lightly tapped his palm, and suddenly a streak of purple gas appeared in his hand. This purple chi is not the purple chi that came from the east in the morning, but the real purple chi of Grand Mist. Of course, first sermon ends. The teacher bestowed the purple chi of Grand Mist, almost telling everyone that the 3 pure ones will definitely be sanctified. However, 1,000 years have passed since the first sermon, but the three pure ones still haven't figured out any changes. He sighed, it seems that after all, I still have to quickly explore my own saint path. Emperor Jun and Tai, the next actions will definitely become bigger and bigger. He has just understood one thing, Emperor Jun Tai uses the position of Emperor of Heaven to improve himself. In other words, the more heavenly court's chi luck improves, the more the cultivation of the two brothers can be improved. Although he still doesn't know if he can really be sanctified with the title of Emperor of Heaven. However, Grand Dao 3000, maybe this is not a road. Today's great primordial seems peaceful. But soon there will be chaos. The root cause of the turmoil is these two brothers, A and D. Which clan? Today's witch clan and demon race, the dispute has initially manifested. It's just that Emperor Jun and Tai have just united the great primordial races and established the demon race not long ago, so they are still restrained. Humph, they actually want to surrender to the dragon clan. These two brothers really know how to plan. What he said to Ao Lai just now was naturally not to lie to him. The last time Fei Lian and Bai Fang went to the dragon clan, although they did bring tens of thousands of heavenly soldiers and generals, it was just a test. Moreover, even though Fei Lian and Bai Fang turned back in a panic last time, their goal has been achieved. Emperor Jun and Tai Yi have already determined that the current dragon clan is ostentatious. If Heavenly Court can really rule the world, then Chi luck will immediately be on fire. Tai unfolded the Golden Crow supernatural power, directly tearing apart the space. He brought Fei Lian and Bai Fang back to Heavenly Court from Mt Kunlun, but a great primordial arrived at Heavenly Court within a day and night. After arriving at the Heavenly Court, Emperor Jun was already waiting in person at the Heavenly Gate. How about it? Too little nod. Demon God Bai Fang, Demon God Fei Lian, go back and rest first. My minister, I would like to thank your majesty for your kindness. After the two people saluted, they immediately took their leave. Emperor Jun and Tai returned to the Heavenly Palace and sat down. Emperor Jun couldn't wait to ask, how? Tai said, I tried it with Tongtian and failed. As expected of the three pure ones, it really is amazing. What if you let go and fight? Tai Yi pondered, with the help of the Bell of Primordial Chaos, if I fight for life and death, I should be able to beat him by a single line. But, that's all. These three pure ones. Emperor Jun shook his head depressedly. The two of them are already considered noble by nature, but why did they meet someone who is born with a higher nature? However, this also shows that the Emperor of Heaven's Way is also a Grand Dao. Even if our brothers don't have the purple chi of Grand Mist. Tai Yi suddenly said, no, we may not have it. Brother, don't forget about that old Hong Yun's purple chi of Grand Mist. Emperor Jun let out a long breath, I've been looking for this streak of purple energy, but it's a pity. Tai Yi said, forget it, as long as you keep going, you will always find it. The top priority now is the East Sea Dragon Palace. Ao Cheng's old thing is also a hard bone to chew, but we brothers must chew it down. Kunlun Wonderland. Holy Virgin Wudang stood outside Ao Sheng's cave, and shouted helplessly, Junior brother, I'm here to teach you the Supreme Pure One Immortal Art. Yungxiao, Kaiyangxiao and Bixiao are all here. After a while, the gate of the cave opened. Ao Sheng floated out slowly, Wu. Senior sister, what time is it now? Or, 2 days later, we just returned to Mt Kunlun. Wudang directly interrupted Ao Sheng's words, saying, you have been resting for half a month. You have to know that you only have 10 years. No, now you only have 9 years, 11.5 months. Wudang asked again, you can't cultivate to Xianxian, what about the dragon clan? Ao Sheng, it's okay, anyway, the Jilong of the dragon clan has its own aura, or maybe one day my cultivation level will suddenly improve. Wudang stared, she found that this junior brother is really too lazy and procrastinating. She said directly, impossible. P.S. Take a shower and continue. Ask for an evaluation ticket. New Year's Day and beyond will be even better, read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 20. Junior brother. I know, your chi luck is indeed very good. But you have to know that the way of practice depends on accumulating over time. Ao Sheng, I am tired and tired. Senior sister, take a look, has my cultivation improved? Ao Sheng rotated his body slightly, and suddenly a ray of divine light was released slowly. Look, is my cultivation level an improvement from quack? Wu Dang had to admit, what the little thing Ao Sheng said, it was actually true. In just half a month, his cultivation has changed from the original stage of the early stage of immortality to approaching the middle stage of immortality. This kind of cultivation speed is impressive enough even in today's great primordial. Ao Sheng laughed and said, look, what I said is true. Wu Dang was surprised, and thought, could it be that this little thing seems to be sleeping these few days, but is actually cultivating hard? Could it be that this guy wants to be a blockbuster if he doesn't make a sound? Something is wrong. Ao Sheng's dragon scales were loose, and his breath was not steady, obviously he just woke up from sleep. But he soon discovered why. The little red flower between the horns of Ao Sheng seems to have become more brilliant. Then, the green plant on his dragon's tail also became deeper, and even at this moment, there was still an endless stream of aura flowing into his body. I see. With these two spiritual roots in his body, even if Ao Sheng sleeps every day, his cultivation level can still continue to improve. It's not without reason that senior brother Duobao is so eager to get King Shen. Ao Sheng said, well, anyway, I can become stronger if I hang up, senior sister, it shouldn't matter. Wu Dang said again, junior brother, although there are these two spiritual roots, your cultivation will indeed become stronger. But you have to know that the improvement of the realm is not just as simple as the accumulation of cultivation, the most important thing is the perception of Tao. If you don't realize the Tao, it is absolutely impossible. But at this moment, a gentle voice resounded in Ao Sheng's cave. Xiao Longer, come to the Grand Pure One Hall. Wu Dang, there are a few of you, let's come together. Wu Dang wanted to give Ao Sheng a lecture, but he didn't expect the uncle to jump out at this time. In desperation, she had no choice but to shrug. Junior brother, since we are Master Bo Xiang Zhao, let's go together. As soon as I arrived in the hall of the Grand Pure One, I heard the Grand Pure One chuckle and said, the poor Daoist realized the Tao before, and he has a little comprehension. Are you willing to listen? Ao Sheng didn't feel it yet, but Wu Dang was already a great surprise. Wu Dang, I wrote about Master Uncle. The Grand Pure One, it's time to preach. What an opportunity this is. Now Master Bouquet has not yet accepted apprentices, so he has never preached to others. But he didn't expect that such an opportunity would actually fall on him. Wu Dang still has self-knowledge, and it's been a long time since he joined his master's school. Although the master is generous and kind, he has never treated him like this. This is making a small fuss for the junior brother. The Grand Pure One's preaching this time did not take much time, only 3 months. When he was preaching, golden lotuses sprang up from the ground, smallpox emerged from the sky, and the fairy voice lingered. Wait until March is over and the Grand Pure One opens its eyes. His eyes swept over Wu Dang and ladies of the three firmaments, and he couldn't help nodding, junior brother, these disciples have received very well. The Grand Pure One didn't like Duobao that much, because Duobao's solipsism was against him. On the contrary, he is optimistic about Wu Dang. Although the temperament of this ladies of the three firmaments is not as good as Wu Dang, he is also a talent for science and education. Finally, his eyes finally fell on Ao Sheng. After all, this Dao method is taught because of him. Okay. The Grand Pure One frowned. This peaceful heart, Hoxuan was not torn apart by anger. This little thing is actually sleeping. With his future saint's gaze, he could tell at a glance that this little thing was sleeping soundly now. Dragon saliva also flowed down. Ao Sheng. The Grand Pure One coughed lightly, ready to wake up Ao Sheng. But at this moment, Ao Sheng's head suddenly shone red, shining brightly. This sudden change awakened both Wu Dang and ladies of the three firmaments. Wu Dang said incredulously, this is the glory of enlightenment. This layer of Dao light is peaceful but quiet. Little brother, did you actually realize the Tao? Oh my god, isn't my junior brother sleeping? Before she entered the state, she saw the little junior brother close his eyes, and fell asleep on the meditation mat in a daze. But now, the little junior has directly entered the state of enlightenment. Little brother's comprehension, is it really so strong? Wu Dang at this moment felt that kind of despair. Swiba obviously played games every day, but he got full marks in the exam. The Grand Pure One said softly, this little thing didn't listen carefully, but it helped you. When Wu Dang heard this, he realized that it wasn't the younger brother who had enlightened himself, but the red flower on top of his head. Now she also knows the origin of the safflower, which is the purple water chestnut flower. The flower seeds have already condensed a lot of purple air coming from the east noble air. Under the witness of the Grand Pure One, the flower left Ao Sheng's head, and then began to take shape directly in front of the Grand Pure One. The Grand Pure One waved his hand and said, "This is also a kind of fate. I will help you." Thus, a blue light entered. But after a while, the little flower was shrouded in a flame-like halo. Then, a slim and lovely Lingzhou woman in a light red dress came out. She knelt directly on the ground and kowtowed to the Grand Pure One, "Disciple, I have seen Saint. Thank you Saint for making it happen." The Grand Pure One chuckled, and said, "Poor Daoist has not yet been sanctified, but the word saint is too early. However, if you really want to thank, you have to thank this little dragon." Okay. The words of the Grand Pure One were so ordinary that they couldn't help being stunned. Because, at this moment, Ao Sheng's head shone with light again. This is still the light of enlightenment. Moreover, this time it was Ao Sheng who released it by himself. Wu Dangui didn't know why, but the Grand Pure One was amazed. Hehe, this is all right. P.S. It's 11:40, and I have to go to work tomorrow. Hey, it's been going on for 2 days. I can't make it through 6th today, sorry. Thank you to New Year's Day and beyond will be even better, read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 21. In fact, it is not quite accurate to say that Ao Sheng has enlightened himself. Hey! The Grand Pure One sighed silently, and suddenly felt a little uncomfortable. Why? Now Ao Sheng's way is almost exactly the same as what the flower fairy mistaken, it is the way of plants. However, Ao Sheng, a lazy BD, can fall asleep even listening to his own preaching. How can he comprehend this kind of Tao that can only be comprehended after thousands of years of meditation? This is rubbing. Yes, I realized it. Because it absorbs the purple energy of the world every day, the purple vine flower has its own characteristics, and can instinctively perceive chi luck. It was also her luck that a gust of east wind blew and brought her to Ao Sheng's head. Purple water chestnut vine flowers have been accumulated for tens of millions of years, but plant fairies are the most difficult to cultivate. Fortunately, there is the Grand Pure One preaching now. Although the Grand Pure One is not yet sanctified, it is also the top existence of the Great Primordial today, which enlightened her. So, she directly realized Taoism. But Ao Sheng is weird. When this guy is sleeping, his spiritual sense somehow directly resonates with the spiritual sense of Xiling Tenghua's enlightenment. So much so, that he fell asleep and actually fully experienced the growth and enlightenment experience of Xiling Fujihua. However, because of the enlightenment of the purple vine flower, he also became enlightened at this time. And it's someone else's purple energy in the way of plants. But the real rub. It is also true that the Grand Pure One will be amazed. I realized that this is the first case of the Great Primordial. Ah, I turned into a grass. It's not right, it's a wisteria. Ah, yawn, it's so comfortable. I don't know how long it's been like sleeping and waking up every day. Hey? This is, the purple air of heaven and earth. I suck, I suck. Ah, it's time to sleep. Ao Sheng felt that he probably traveled through time again. But this time, he was no longer a dragon, but a Xiling vine. Ao Sheng suddenly understood. Wait, this is a dream. I entered Xiling's dream. No, it should be said that I experienced Xiling's life in a dream. I really didn't expect that as a plant, the life of purple water chestnut vine would be so ordinary and happy. At this time, Ao Sheng really felt that being a purple water chestnut vine is really good. Born among the cliffs of the Kunlun Fairy Mountain, you don't have to worry about being stepped on by passers-by. Every day is boring and comfortable, eating, sleeping, and eating. Well, Ziki is a kind of food for her. Therefore, Ao Sheng really thinks that the wisteria flower is happy. Thinking about it, Ao Sheng suddenly discovered that a light appeared above this dream world. The light shines on his dragon soul. And then Ao Sheng enlightened. He understood the way of plants. Moreover, this cultivation base has reached the perfection of Tianxian in one breath. Wu Dang looked at Ao Sheng, and opened his mouth slightly. What had she said earlier? Enlightenment, need to accumulate over time? Good guy. This little dragon actually realized the Tao in one breath. But she asked her own question in amazement, "Uncle, I heard that the dragon clan is the leader of the scales, and its talent is water. There is also the dragon race, born in the land of magma, the sun and the moon swallowed the lava of the world, and then turned into a fire dragon. But can dragons practice the way of plants?" Because, under Ao Sheng's body at this time, dense wisteria grew. If it wasn't for the Grand Pure One Hall, the wisteria would probably spread out. The Grand Pure One said unhappily, "He's lying." He said softly, "Ao Sheng, you still haven't woken up." Ao enraged and stood up quickly, "Master, I didn't sleep, I just got enlightened." He looked around, and suddenly found purple vines around him. And no matter it was ladies of the Three Firmaments junior sister or Wudang senior sister, they were all looking at him in amazement. For a moment, Ao Sheng was at a loss. "Hey? Who is this little girl?" At this time, the flower fairy was looking at Ao Sheng. She immediately said, "The servant girl has seen the master." "Handmaiden. Wait, are you that Xiling vine flower? Also ask the master to give you a name." She knelt on the ground and prayed for Ao Sheng. This kind of plant becomes essence, the most simple in heart. It was because of Ao Sheng that she had the opportunity to listen to Taoism, so she was very grateful to Ao Sheng and regarded herself as a maidservant. Ao Sheng waved his hand and said quickly, "You are not a maid, get up quickly." The little fairy was still kneeling on the ground. Ao Sheng understood what she meant, and said, "The name, do you like Xiaohong or Xiaozi?" The little fairy kneeling on the ground. At this point, the Grand Pure One couldn't stand it anymore. This big guy complained directly, "Humph, what name did you get? You are the purple water chestnut flower, you have experienced thousands of years of frost and cold, and you have condensed the purple energy for thousands of years. Take this purple as your surname and name it Ningxuang." The flower fairy immediately showed a knowing smile, "Ningxuang, thank you for the name. It took a while for Saint to be named." Ao Sheng smiled awkwardly, and complained in his heart, "Let a man with a science and engineering degree choose his name, what else would he want?" It took a lot of effort to not use 1, 2, 3 and 4 as code names. She said to Ningxuang, "Well, I, Ao Sheng, don't like maidservants, so how about it, you can be my sister." Ao Sheng added in his heart, "I am not a scumbag, I just like you, sister." The Grand Pure One called the shots again, "If you listen to my Dao method incarnation, you can count me as a half-named disciple, so just call him brother." Ningxuang wept with joy. "Kowtow again. Ningxuang, I have seen exalted master, I have seen my brother. The confession is over." The Grand Pure One cleared his throat and said, "Okay, Ao Sheng, you've got the benefits, but you have to work for the poor Daoist." Ao Sheng's face drooped immediately, and he thought, "Sure enough, there will be no pie in the world. I just heard the Grand Pure One say, the poor Daoist deduces that in a big mountain in the Great Primordial, there will be a spiritual root that will be born soon. This is one of the few innate spirit roots in the Great Primordial today. You can run for me and bring this innate spirit root back." When Ao Sheng heard this, he quickly followed his heart. "Uncle, my disciple is just a little fairy now, this Great Primordial land is extremely dangerous, if I am not careful, my disciple will be caught by a big monster to make soup. The death of the disciple is not a pity, but it has ruined the prestige of 3 Pure Ones." The Grand Pure One looked at him with sideways eyelids, and said, "I won't let you go like this, hold this thing, it's enough for your protection. Go." The Grand Pure One just clapped its palms, and Ao Sheng's body immediately disappeared into Mt Kunlun. Ao Sheng. Old man, shameless. New Year's Day and beyond will be even better, read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 22. After all, Ao Sheng did not dare to say the words stinky and shameless. He still knows that misfortune comes out of his mouth. "Wait, master, you haven't told me what the name of that fairy mountain is and where it is." He wanted to ask just now, but suddenly there was a message in his heart. "Southeast, famous mountain Wei." Ao Sheng was stunned, and complained in his heart again, "Hey, these future saints are always weird. Things that can be finished in one sentence must be presented in my heart. Wait, Mt Wei." Ao Sheng's little heart skipped a beat. When you think of Mt Wei, you think of Dahongbao. Bah, I made a mistake. Yes, treasure-dropping gold coin. During the investiture of the gods' battle, there was a treasure that seemed to have little power, but actually left a very strong stroke in the entire investiture of the gods' battle. That is the treasure-dropping gold coin that has settled the sea god bead. Xiao Sheng and Cao Bao are casual cultivators. Either they were out of passion, or because they fell in love with the big ship of School of Enlightenment, in short, they just ended up fighting. The two of them died, and the Dingai Shenzhou and treasure-dropping gold coin should all belong to Bengkara later. The Grand Pure One actually asked me to go to Mtwi. Could it be that the treasure-dropping gold coin is about to be born? No, it should, it's just a coincidence. But is it really a coincidence? The Grand Pure One is the future #1 saint. Forget it, it has nothing to do with me. Anyway, I will go pick a spiritual route southeast. Thus, Ao Sheng, the slacker, finally took his own dragon steps, and then flew towards the southeast. It's just that after he flew for about half an hour, he fell directly from the clouds. No, this is too tiring. From here to the Mtwi in the southeast, if he flies at his speed, it may take 2 years. The time spent going back and forth on the road alone is 4 years. Wang Tian, before I know it, am I going to experience that feeling of a social animal again? No. For this, Ao Sheng is refusing. Wait, there is. Facts have proved that laziness is the ladder of progress, and this statement is indeed true. When Ao Sheng wanted to be lazy, many thoughts suddenly appeared in his mind. There are 3 ways to travel effortlessly in the Great Primordial. One is to ask Daneng for direct help, to create a space teleportation method, and send him directly to Mtwi. Unfortunately, this one doesn't work. After all, he is not powerful, and the uncle deliberately did not send himself directly to Mtwi just to make things difficult for him. The beautiful name is, Hone Yourself. Bad old man, all of them are very bad. The second is the magic weapon of flight. Many flying magic weapons can be said to be thousands of miles in an instant, such as the somersault cloud of the monkey sun, which is actually a magic weapon. However, the flying magic weapon needs to be controlled by the master, and it still needs to pay attention and work hard. The third is the method Ao Sheng will use at this time, mount. During the journey to the west, many immortals and great powers may have mounts. Reading that novel even gave people the feeling of the mounts of the gods showing off their mounts. As the prince of the dragon clan, and a disciple of the school of interception, it's not too much to surrender a mount, right? At this point Ao Sheng is going to subdue a flying mount. In order to be lazy, he decided to be diligent once. Senior. Ao Sheng flicked the dragon's tail. Help me sense, is there any good foot strength around here? No, it's best to have a mount that can fly. The ginseng king on the tail shook its branches and leaves slightly. Although this king of Shen could not transform into a form like the purple water chestnut vine for the time being, and finally cultivated into a spirit, his cultivation was undoubtedly higher than that of Ziaining Shuang. No, it should be said that it exceeds a lot. After all, he can break through Duobao's protection. The king ginseng's roots went deep into the earth, and it didn't take long for the message to come. Ao Sheng laughed, haha, Uncle Shen Wang, you are awesome. Ao Sheng immediately headed towards the direction that King Shen pointed out. Not long after, Ao Sheng was in a low-lying valley. He lay prone on the mountain wall, perfectly blending into the shadows. Ao Sheng looked at the big khaki-colored bird next to an underground undercurrent in the valley, and couldn't help feeling proud. Hey, I've become a gecko now. Shen Wang's work is really very reliable. Judging from the aura, this big bird's cultivation base is not particularly high, probably just at the level of a celestial being. Of course, in the same realm, Ao Sheng is absolutely confident that he can conquer the opponent. However, this bird is really weird. It is obviously a bird, but it actually has such a powerful earth spirit root. But it's better, it can fly and walk, it's even better if it can swim, it's all about land, sea and air. Ao Sheng planned a plan to capture this big bird in his mind. First of all, approach quietly. With the help of Senior Shen Wang, this is easy to do. Second, directly cast Dragon's Prestige to oppress him. If the bird doesn't have intelligence, that's the best. If it already has a true spirit, then just show the Tongtian disciple's signboard. The identity of the future saint disciple, of course, must be used. Otherwise, what's the point of being a disciple of saint? Senior King Shen, help me. Ao Sheng's body instantly sank into the ground. In the already deep ground, an undetectable trace suddenly appeared. Haha, the plan is successful, Dragon's prestige is released. Ao Sheng suddenly broke through the ground, directly releasing his true dragon power and the coercion of the Supreme Pure One Fairy formula. That big yellow bird was really frightened, its wings spread out and it wanted to fly away. But Ao Sheng entangled directly on his body. This real dragon body is actually really convenient. He turned into a boa constrictor and entangled the big bird, preventing it from flapping its wings to escape. There was an evil smile on the corner of Ao Sheng's mouth. Haha, you can't get away. Listen up, I am one of MT Kunlun 3 Pure Ones, a disciple of Tongtian, if you know. Ao Sheng's face froze. He looked at the woman in the lake in front of him, and his body trembled a little. Fortunately, the woman in the lake is not bathing like many bloody plots. Otherwise, Ao Sheng dare to conclude that he is already cold at this moment. Step, step, step. The woman slowly walked out from the center of the lake until she was in front of Big Bird. She looked at Ao Sheng and said with a smile, "Are you a disciple of Brother Tongtian?" At this moment, Ao Sheng was stunned. Tongtian, brother? Another great primordial Zi Xiaogong listener. Senior, I was just playing around with this bird sister. P.S. I was dispatched to the island for a business trip in the afternoon. Good guy, the sea breeze has blown me down with a cold. Before the New Year's Eve, I hope there will be no more things. New Year's Day and beyond will be even better, read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 23. The woman looked at Ao Sheng, chuckled lightly and said, "Hehe, do you think I should believe it?" Ao Sheng got off the big bird slowly. It's really embarrassing for this kind of hooligan to be caught face to face. As a senior worker who used to work hard in the workplace, Ao Sheng knows very well that no matter how he answers this question at this moment, he is wrong. He arched the dragon's claws respectfully, and said in a childish voice, "Junior Ao Sheng, I have met Master Uncle. Since the other party calls his master as a senior brother, it is right to greet him directly with the word Master Uncle. The change of address is the first step to closer relationship." The woman glanced at Ao Sheng, and then said, "I really didn't expect that Brother Tongtian would accept the Dragon Clan as his apprentice." Looking at the woman's face and tone of voice, Ao Sheng reckoned that she wasn't really angry. He whispered, "It's my nephew. I'm lucky. I was lucky enough to be valued by Master. By the way, I still don't know your name, Master Uncle." The woman said, "I am Hutu." When Ao Sheng heard this, his heart was shocked. Another great primordial. It hasn't been long since I traveled, and I have already met several great primordials. He immediately said, "It turns out to be the merciful and merciful Empress Hutu. I just said that I, Ao Sheng, have good luck." There was a trace of surprise evident on Hutu's graceful face. She chuckled and said, "Hehe, there is no such thing as great mercy in the great primordial today, let alone my warlike witch clan." Ao Sheng immediately said, "Master Uncle, my master has said that every 12 ancestral witch is good at fighting and invincible, but the one he admires most is you, Hutu Master Uncle. It's not because you, Hutu Master Uncle, surpass 12 ancestral witches in terms of combat power, but because you are the most benevolent and wisest among all ancestral witches." He spoke in a serious manner, and when he spoke on the phone, he didn't have the slightest affectation. "Hehe, what an interesting little guy, senior brother Tongtian, who is so boring, would accept such a glib little dragon like you. Okay, don't be nervous, and I never said I would blame you for anything." Hearing this sentence, Ao Sheng really relaxed. Hutu suddenly asked, "By the way, well done, why are you catching this Kun spirit bird?" It turned out that her name was Kun Ling Niao. Hutu smiled and said, "Could it be that you are greedy and want to roast her?" Ao Sheng hurriedly trembled, thinking, "I want to roast your bird because I am crazy." He quickly swung the dragon's claws and said with a smile, "Senior, I misunderstood, the bird is so cute, why did you eat her?" The junior, in the name of the great master, went to look for Mtwi. Because of the long distance, Guy wants to discuss with Sister Kun Ling Niao and ask her to take me to Mtwi. After hearing this, Hutu chuckled suddenly, "Hehe, so you little guy wants to be lazy." Hutu gently rubbed Kun Ling Niao's slender neck and asked, would you like to take him to Mtwi? Go back to your mother, if you let me go, I will go. This Kunling Niao is really able to spit out human words, and the voice is surprisingly nice. Hutu said, okay then, you can work hard. I'm also just about to return to Witch Clan. It's just that it's against the meaning of brother the Grand Pure One. When Ao Sheng heard this, he was overjoyed. The mount is still there. Empress Hutu is really merciful. At this time, he suddenly asked curiously, Master Uncle, what are you doing here? Here, it's not Mt Buzaoshan either. Hutu sighed softly and said, since Zai Xiaogong heard the sermon, I have felt a lot. Brothers, I want the Witch Clan to dominate the Great Primordial and defeat the demon race. However, I always feel that Father God's purpose for us to be born is not simply for war. So, I want to take a look at this Great Primordial world and see if I can understand the true meaning of God the Father. Ao Sheng. As expected of Empress Hutu, she is indeed unparalleled in wisdom. Master Uncle, did you feel it? Hutu shook his head, and sighed again, I have travelled through most of the Great Primordial world, and have seen mountains and rivers everywhere. The Great Primordial world is beautiful, but I always feel that it is incomplete. Ao Sheng's Longan blinked thumpingly, with a bewildered expression on his face. The world, incomplete. He thought, by the way, could it be that Empress Hutu has already seen this? If the general trend of the Great Primordial is followed, Empress Hutu will turn into Goddess Pingzhen and become the master of 6 paths of Samsara. Ao Sheng said cautiously, Your Majesty, isn't there still a half of the Great Primordial left? First of all, you have to walk through the entire Great Primordial before you can deny the complete statement of the Great Primordial, right? Hutu suddenly became interested, and asked with a smile, why, you, a dragon, still have ideas about the Great Primordial world? I don't have any opinions, but the Great Primordial world has grown up, and maybe more than half of the empresses go there now. Although we haven't been together for a long time, Hutu always feels that Ao Sheng is different from other creatures she has seen. Ao Sheng rolled his eyes and said cautiously, Master Uncle, I'm talking nonsense, nonsense. Hutu smiled lightly, then you are talking nonsense, you have to say no. Ao Sheng thought to himself, it's really rare that Empress Hutu can be so playful and cute. So, he said, Your Majesty, when my nephew and I came to this valley just now, Senior Shen Wang used the method of earth escape to bring me here. I was thinking at the time, how wonderful it is for us to live on the ground, with sunshine, wind, and rain. Those creatures living underground, how miserable it is. They may not even know what it means to be alarmed sooner or later. After hearing this, Hutu suddenly paused, the underground world. Underground. Her body trembled slightly, and a faint light of wisdom suddenly flickered in her eyes. Master Uncle? Master Uncle? Ao Sheng looked at Hutu carefully, not knowing what happened to this one. But Hutu suddenly chuckled, it's nothing, I just thought of something. If one day I realize something, Master Uncle, I will definitely accept your favor. After thinking about it, she took out something and handed it to Ao Sheng, Master Uncle, I can't compare to your master and uncle. I'm poorer. You are going to Mtwi, and this witch weapon will be given to you for self-defense. Ao Sheng is overjoyed, the witch weapon is here. Of course, the most important thing is the friendship of ancestral witch Hutu. After this trip, not only did I have a mount, no, it was Kunling Niao's sister. I also gained the friendship of Hutu's mother-in-law, a good thing. P.S. It may be gone at night, I am too sleepy after drinking the medicine. New Year's Day and beyond will be even better, read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 24. Take it. Hutu tapped his slender finger, and a divine light appeared in front of Ao Sheng. After that, it gradually condensed into a mark. Ao Sheng raised his dragon paw. This large seal is very light, as if it were made of rubber. However, when he touched this imprint, he felt an indescribable depth. It seemed that he was facing the whole earth. Hutu chuckled and said, Witchcraft is completely different from spirit treasure law treasure. This is a witchcraft that I cultivated with my own laws. The use of witchcraft is completely different from spirit treasure, but needs to be driven by one's own blood. In short, spirit treasures are all sacrificed with mana. But the witch weapon needs blood to practice. Hutu chuckled, okay, I'm leaving, Be careful all the way. She patted Kunling Niao's head again, and said with a smile, if you want, you can follow him. He is the disciple of Saint in the future. This is your chance. If this big bird takes form in the future, it will be demon race. The relationship between witch clan and demon race is now obvious, so Empress Hutu doesn't intend to bring her back to witch clan. Entrusting her to Ao Sheng is indeed the best choice. Ao Sheng immediately said, Your Majesty, don't worry, I will definitely take good care of Miss Kunling. If there is a chance, I will ask Master to accept Sister Kunling as my apprentice. Well, use the pride of my dragon clan as a guarantee. Anyway, my teacher will accept many apprentices in the future, one more is not too many. Hutul looked at Ao Sheng with a chuckle, and then, touched his tap. Okay, I'll give you a ride first. She swept Dao method lightly, and Ao Sheng immediately felt that she had penetrated directly into the ground. In an instant, he had already appeared in another valley. Where have I been? Ao Sheng looked at the sky around him, it was a completely strange world. However, this place is much more humid than the previous place, and it is probably not far from the East Sea. A casual slap sent me to the shores of the East Sea. The power of power is so terrifying. At this time, Nakanling Niao said, Ao Sheng big brother, come up. I know the way to Mtwi from here. Ao Sheng smiled awkwardly and said, Sister, is it not good for me to ride like this? Kunling Niao didn't care much. Earthly Dao, aren't you planning to ride up? If there is no Empress Hutu, wouldn't I be directly reduced to a mount? I feel embarrassed when you say that, Sister Kunling. I am an honest dragon. However, since Sister Kunling didn't mind, Ao Sheng went straight to her back. As a bird with the spirit veins of the earth, Kunling bird is one of the excellent mount candidates. Whether running on the ground or flying in the sky, the speed is very fast. Moreover, when her wings are spread out, her back is extremely wide, with a small nest like a swan. Of course, because of their special blood, it is more difficult to change form. Ao Sheng just fell into this feather nest, and suddenly let out a satisfied murmur, very comfortable. Well, Ao Sheng big brother, as long as you are comfortable. Empress Hutu sent her a voice transmission earlier, telling herself to follow Ao Sheng in the future. This Kunling Niao has a simple character and listens to the words of Empress Hutu very much. So, she did her best. Clatter. The big bird spread its wings and flew for thousands of miles in an instant. It felt really good. Mtwi is also one of the great primordial mountains. It's just that compared with Mt Kunlun, Mt Buzaoshan, etc., it is too different. After half a month of flying, Ao Sheng and Kunling Niao finally arrived at Mtwi. This is Mtwi. Looking around, it is a piece of tender green. Ao Sheng came out of the bird's nest behind the Kunling bird, and then flew down into Mtwi. Sniff! The tip of his nose surged, and suddenly a fragrance came. Ao Sheng let out a sigh of relief. Sure enough, it is indeed a sacred mountain of tea ceremony. There are large areas of tender green, many of which are tea trees. Wait, Master Uncle asked me to come here to pick tea, right? But at this moment, Ao Sheng's tail flicked again. Senior King Shen, what's wrong? What, you feel innate spirit root? Senior Shen Wang is also a half innate spirit root, so he is the most sensitive to the breath of this innate spirit root. In fact, on the way, Ao Sheng already thought of why the Grand Pure One would let him come, probably because of Senior Shen Wang. But this trip really went smoothly. Just came to Mtwi, and immediately felt the presence of innate spirit root. Ao Sheng big brother, I want to rest for a while. Kunling Niao girl said softly. Ao Sheng said with a smile, yeah, Sister Kunling Niao, you should rest first, thank you for your hard work. I'll go to the other side of the mountain to have a look. Ao Sheng followed the route suggested by King Shen. But after a while, he saw a green light. The emerald green light is very noble and full of aura. Haha, is this where the innate spirit root is? Such a strong innate wood spirit energy. But Ao Sheng originally wanted to collect that innate spirit root immediately, and then complete the task of the master. However, he soon hesitated again. He muttered in his heart, I always feel that this green light makes my heart a little flustered. Senior King Shen, is there something weird about this innate spirit root? The old ginseng on the dragon's tail didn't respond, which meant that the old ginseng didn't find any problems. This made Sheng feel a little relieved. However, just as he was about to collect, bursts of black light suddenly came from above the sky. An arrogant and surly roar came, "Bold, how dare you snatch my heavenly court spirit root?" Sheng looked up, there was a group of about 20 demon race descending from the sky, heading directly towards Sheng. No, it should be said that this innate spirit root came. Heavenly court. He doesn't have any affection for heavenly court. Just, why did heavenly court appear here for no reason? Exactly, I have an idea. A very pure smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. New Year's Day and beyond will be even better, read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. Chapter 25. Just when Sheng was thinking, those demon races had already fallen from the sky. The leader, demon race, is a big demon with a human body and a bird face. Its breath is full of the realm of true immortal. Among today's great primordials, true immortal is nothing. However, it seems embarrassing for Sheng now. The realm is just higher than him. Of course, Sheng doesn't really matter, the king of Shen on the tail is a ruthless character who can draw to obey. What's more, there are many treasures on my body. There is the golden pill given by the master uncle, the jade talisman given by the second master uncle, the sword soul of his own master, and the innate spirit treasure. It's just that Sheng looked at these demon races now, but he was terrified. Hehe, you actually met the dragon clan here. The fairy saw Sheng and was taken aback. Today, the demon race heavenly court is plotting and persecuting the dragon clan, which is a well-known thing. The leader of the demon general chuckled, "Hey, good luck. As long as this little dragon is brought back, it will be a great achievement. I originally came here for a phoenix, but I didn't expect to meet the innate spirit root and a dragon." Sheng blinked his eyes and thought, "Phoenix." He thought to himself, how could there be a phoenix on Mtwi? Is this phoenix wanting to drink tea? Seeing the opponent approaching, he shouted directly, "I am a disciple of Mt Kunlun, and I am a disciple of Tongtian. What do you want to do? Take the first step of the Great Primordial, and you must report to the teacher at the beginning." The bird demon asked back, "Mt Kunlun, Tongtian. Ha ha ha. What a corner of Mt Kunlun. Tongtian, who is it? I have never heard of this demon general. In front of my heavenly court, they are nothing but outdated residues." What he said made Sheng dumbfounded. In this whole great primordial, there are still people who don't know where Kunlun is, and who dare to say what Tongtian is. Sheng decided to help him convey this. In addition, it is no wonder that this monster can only be an unknown little monster. Sheng was filled with righteous indignation, and then spit out his anger. He roared angrily, "Presumptuous, how dare you insult me, exalted master!" Flames formed and went directly towards those demon races. "Humph, small tricks." The bird demon was so domineering, he condensed his claws and shot out a black light, which immediately shattered Sheng's flame. However, when he was doing all this, he found that Sheng had disappeared. A fierce light flashed in the eyes of the bird demon, and he shouted, "It's actually a slap in the face, trying to seize the innate spirit root, and you want to die. Brothers, follow me in, take the innate spirit root, and capture this dragon family." All the monster soldiers behind shouted in unison, "Yes." They jumped into the green light at the same time. After about 10 breaths, Sheng's body emerged from the ground. At the previous moment, he pretended to rush into the green light space, but in fact, he directly let King Shen cast Earth Dun and disappeared under the ground. He complained, it's really scary to be uneducated." But after a long time, there were bursts of wailing at the same time, help! Help me! Father, help!" Sheng was watching from the outside, just listening to the wailing, he knew how much pain the people inside were in at this moment. Moreover, he clearly felt that the emerald-like green light became more and more dazzling. "Hiss!" He gasped and said, "Green light, it really is an unbearable weight for life." It seems that his feelings are not wrong at all. In this cave, perhaps there really is an innate spirit root. But there is also boundless danger in it. The innate spiritual energy that came out of the walk was so good that even King Shen was fooled. If he hadn't been smarter, I'm afraid it wouldn't be so good now. Innate spirit root, it's actually an innate evil root. Or, let's forget it. Ao Sheng's laziness broke out again. This kind of thing is thankless, anyway, Master Uncle is not necessarily born with a fierce root, isn't it? Just when Ao Sheng was hesitating. Boom! An extremely huge destructive force erupted directly from the tree hole. A low growl came, "You are so bold, who dares to kill my heavenly court demon general?" That shadow of nothingness manifested, with extraordinary momentum. Ao Sheng stepped back again and hid directly. This is the demon god of heavenly court again. No, karma is a divine sense of the heavenly court demon god. Judging by this divine sense, the owner is probably also a golden immortal of the Great Way. It seems that the harpy still has a history, and he was able to obtain a divine sense from the golden immortal of the Great Way. By the way, that Puja seems to have called the ancestor to save me. Boom boom boom. In the tree pit, one after another energy fluctuations are continuously transmitted. Immediately, crimson blood burst out. As expected of the projection of the golden immortal of the Great Way, it is indeed terrifying. The emerald green light in the tree pit was suppressed shortly after. Hey? I finally know why the breath feels so familiar. This aura is clearly that Felian's aura. In other words, this bird demon is a descendant of Felian. He also finally understood why Felian's primordial spirit would be delayed in manifesting after the harpy was in danger. Because this guy is probably suppressing his injuries in heavenly court. After a frantic crash, he finally fell into calm. The tree pit has been blasted open, and the thick tree roots are like terrifying giant pythons. It's just that a small piece of tea is thicker than Ao Sheng's current body. Afterwards, under the protection of the blood light, the bird demon slowly flew out. The bird demon looked at the sky, and often let out a sigh of relief. "Thank you, Father, for blessing." The phantom nodded at him and was about to disperse immediately. The phantom is not in a particularly good state at the moment, floating erratically, and seems to be shattered at any time. I really didn't expect that there is such a murderous root in this place. However, now that the evil root has been shattered, after a while you recover from your injuries, go back down and get the treasure inside. The bird demon still had lingering fears, but he still kowtowed obediently. "Yes, Patriarch." Afterwards, the primordial spirit light dissipated and left. The bird demon slumped down on the ground and let out a loud laugh that escaped death. But at this moment, a voice came, "The root of the evil has been eliminated." "That's all right. It's you." The harpy recognized Ao Sheng. He originally thought that after Ao Sheng jumped into the tree pit, he had already been swallowed by this murderous root. But who would have thought that this little thing would appear here at this time? Ao Sheng showed a pure smile and said, "Tell your father that his son is gone." A white flame suddenly spit out. Boom! In just an instant, the body of the bird demon was destroyed together with his soul. Belch! He hiccuped and touched his mouth with the dragon's claw. Nanming Luo is so terrifying. New Year's Day and beyond will be even better. Read a book to relax. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, event time, December 31st to January 2nd. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you are notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.